Chapter 60. Xiao Chen nodded and let out a sigh of relief inwardly. Now that he had found the second set of body-refining herbs, he was one step closer to improving his strength. After sending the tricycle to the grocery store, Xiao Chen and Tang Tang went to a 24-hour bank together. Watching Tang Tang withdraw the 10,000 yuan that she had just deposited not long ago, Xiao Chen's heart involuntarily quivered. However, Tang Tang did not seem to care about that at all. She took the money and handed it to Xiao Chen directly, saying, "Here, take it." At this point, what else could Xiao Chen say? He could only keep the 10,000 yuan with him. When they arrived at the school, Cheng Minjing and Jin Beibei were also there. Lu Zhenming was fawning on Cheng Minjing and returning the review materials that he had picked up yesterday to Cheng Minjing. Although Cheng Minjing did not like Lu Zhenming, she did not want to hit a smiling face. Moreover, Lu Zhenming was here to return the books. "Minjing, did anything happen to you yesterday?" In fact, Lu Zhenming wanted to get some information from Cheng Minjing and find out the background of that stupid big guy and whether he was Cheng Minjing's bodyguard. "No, what could have happened to me?" Cheng Minjing asked back. "Haha, nothing. By the way, where is the big guy who was walking with Xiao Chen?" Lu Zhenming asked casually, pretending that nothing had happened. "What big guy?" Cheng Minjing was slightly stunned. "Cousin Minjing, it's that stupid big guy. Have you forgotten? He came to us to ask for directions. Since we were going the same way, he left with us. I think he saw that cousin Minjing was pretty and wanted to hit on her." Jin Beibei suddenly said. "Ask for directions? Hit on her?" This time, it was Lu Zhenming's turn to be stunned. But he was relieved too. Everything was fine as long as the guy had nothing to do with Cheng Minjing. "Yes, he asked us for directions. Then, he offered to help me and cousin Minjing carry our bags. Later, when we were robbed, he tried to be a hero and save the damsel in distress." Jin Beibei said. "Cousin Minjing hates such guys the most, so I don't have any impression on him." "Oh, that explains a lot." Lu Zhenming suddenly became happy again. It turned out that Minjing of Cheng Minjing was not a fan of saving the damsel in distress. Fortunately, he failed yesterday. Now he had no regrets at all of them, of Cheng Minjing and Cheng Minjing. As for the relationship between Cheng Minjing and Xiao Chen, Lu Zhenming did not ask at all. In Lu Zhenming's eyes, there was certainly nothing between them. Also, when Xiao Chen and Tang Tang walked into the classroom together, Lu Zhenming was even more reassured. It was obvious that Xiao Chen was interested in her. The bumpkin from the mountains could only dream about the former campus belle. After asking Slim Monkey to return Xiao Chen's review materials to him, Lu Zhenming did not even bother to talk to Xiao Chen anymore. Yesterday, he had been forced to do it. Today, he would not be bothered if he did not see it. With the help of the disciples of the Jin family, Jin Beibei's car was sent to the 4S shop. After the car was repaired, it was sent back. It was said that a pipe had fallen off. It was not a big problem. The day passed in an uneventful way. Xiao Chen still read the review materials for the whole day. Although breakfast was a lot of money, it was better to have one more way out. Moreover, Xiao Chen would have to rely on himself to take the college entrance examination in the future. It was impossible for his family to do anything for him. In the evening after school, Cheng Minjing sent a message to Xiao Chen, asking Xiao Chen to go back with her in the car. Although the beetle was small, it was still enough for them to sit together. However, Xiao Chen was going to buy medicine in the evening. Naturally, he turned down the lady's kindness. However, Xiao Chen's concealment made Miss Cheng misunderstand. Hearing that Xiao Chen said that he had something to do after school, she could not help but glance at Tang Tang, somewhat annoyed. "Are you blind or something? I'm so lovely and youthful, and you hang out with Tang Tang all the time? You deserve to be beaten to death." After school, Cheng Minjing left with Jin Beibei first. She was quite annoyed, but her anger subsided after she got in the car. Thinking of the danger yesterday, she was a little worried. "Beibei, do you think those people last night will come to make trouble tonight?" asked Cheng Minjing. "Cousin Minjing, are you worried about brother-in-law Xiao Chen?" asked Jin Beibei with a smile. "Why should I worry about him? I'm just worried that his death will damage my reputation." The outside world will think that I'm narrow-minded and can't tolerate others. They will definitely think that I killed Xiao Chun, explained Chung Minjing. Oh, Jean Bebe nodded. What do you mean by oh? Hearing Jean Bebe's answer, Chung Minjing felt that Jean Bebe was asking for a beating. I just got it, said Jean Bebe. If you got it, why don't you follow Xiao Chun and see what he's doing? Ordered Chung Minjing helplessly. Okay. Jean Bebe started the car and happened to see Xiao Chun, Tang Tang, and Zheng Xiaoquan walking out of the school together. However, to Chung Minjing's surprise, Xiao Chun parted ways with Tang Tang and Zheng Xiaoquan at the gate of the school and didn't go with them. That made the young mistress, who had been a little resentful, feel a little happier. Xiao Chun didn't dare to take any side roads today. He would rather take a detour and take the main street. At least, it would be safer if there were more people on the main street. Of course, if the people who were going to deal with him were not afraid of being affected, they could also deal with him on the main street. But Xiao Chun just wanted to make him feel at ease. However, Xiao Chun didn't go far when he was slightly shocked. It seemed that he was being followed again. Xiao Chun didn't look back, but his enhanced senses made Xiao Chun feel that he was being followed. Am I so unlucky? Did the blockhead from yesterday come again? After all, the two martial artists died together when he was in danger for the first time, so Xiao Chun was temporarily safe. But yesterday, the blockhead didn't die, so it was reasonable for him to come again today. Xiao Chun was so anxious that cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Suddenly, he heard the familiar teasing voice of Elder Heaven Ancestor. Xiao Chun, you seem very nervous. Nonsense. I'm being followed. How can I not be nervous? Don't tell me you didn't notice it, said Xiao Chun with a bitter smile. You don't say. I really didn't notice it. Except for your goddess. I didn't notice anyone else, said the Elder Heaven Ancestor mockingly. Goddess? Xiao Chun was stunned. What goddess? Your fiancée, Chung Minjing. Oh, I'm sorry. Now she's your mistress, Miss Chung, said the Elder Heaven Ancestor. Chung Minjing? Xiao Chun turned his head in surprise. Sure enough, not far away, a red beetle was slowly driving. Xiao Chun was surprised and silent. He didn't know why. When he was in the Xiao family, Xiao Chun didn't feel that he had any friends who cared about him except for Zhuang Xiong. But after he was expelled from the Xiao family and lost his power, there were so many people who were good to him. Tang Tang, Chung Minjing, Xiao Chun remembered them. Although Miss Chung was always a proud princess, Xiao Chun often saw her kind and warm side after he had been in contact with her for a long time. As for Chung Minjing and Jean Bebe, Xiao Chun didn't intend to expose them. Xiao Chun didn't want them to know that he went to buy medicine because he wanted to keep it a secret. After all, if they knew where he bought medicine, it was hard to guarantee that they wouldn't leak it. If the Chung family or his enemies knew it, it would be troublesome. But since they already knew, Xiao Chun didn't need to hide it. He also believed that Miss Chung wouldn't do anything bad to him. It was the same pharmacy as before. Xiao Chun had visited it once 2 days ago. The medicinal ingredients that he bought today could still be used one last time. The supply would stop tomorrow, so Xiao Chun planned to buy all the medicinal ingredients that he needed for tomorrow. He pushed the door open and entered the drugstore. The girl named Yin Yen was still sitting behind the counter and reading a book. She was full of tranquility, which made people feel very comfortable. Hearing that a customer came, Hong Yin put down the book in her hand and looked up. It was Xiao Chun. She couldn't help but be slightly surprised. It's you? Yes, I'm here again, Xiao Chun nodded. When I came here the day before yesterday, I also said that I need 5 medicines. Oh, wait a minute. I'll call my grandpa. Hong Yin didn't say anything more. When it came to the bitter benefit fruit, she couldn't make the decision. Although she was a rich lady, she just came here to gain experience and learn. Grandpa Chen still had to make the decision for the operation of the drugstore. After saying that, Hong Yin turned around and went into the inner room. After a while, she came out with her grandpa. Young man, it's you? Grandpa Chen glanced at Xiao Chun. I heard that you want to buy medicine. Yes, Xiao Chun nodded. I can sell you another medicine at a loss, but the next one won't be at this price, Grandpa Chen said as he began to fill the medicine for Xiao Chun skillfully. Are you ready for 10,000 yuan? I'm ready. Thank you, Grandpa. Xiao Chen also knew that it was already good to take advantage of him twice. It was a bit unrealistic to keep taking advantage of him. He wasn't related to the other party. Why would the other party sell him the medicine at a loss? However, Xiao Chen was now in poverty. He couldn't help but ask, Grandpa, next time I buy it, how much will it cost? Next time, I can give you a discount. 20,000 yuan. The bitter benefit fruit can be considered as a gift. But next time, I will charge 50,000 yuan for the cost. Grandpa Chen said. In fact, his condition was already very generous. Even if it was 50,000 yuan, it was already very considerate for Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen wasn't the kind of greedy person, although he felt that it would be difficult for him to take out 20,000 yuan in 3 days, and it would be even more difficult to take out 50,000 yuan in the future. Xiao Chen had no choice. He could only take one step at a time. Thank you, Grandpa. I will gather the money as soon as possible. Xiao Chen nodded and said. Grandpa Chen didn't say anything more. After getting the medicine, he handed it to Xiao Chen and said, If you can get the bitter benefit fruit yourself, I can still sell the medicine to you for 20,000 yuan in the future. But I don't have many bitter benefit fruit. Chapter 61. I see. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. He had many bitter fruits in his house, but they were not his. They belonged to Yi Xiaoya. Xiao Chen did not expect to get the bitter fruit from Yi Xiaoya, nor did he intend to steal it. Although Yi Xiaoya had a cold personality, she was a good person. After all, Xiao Chen hadn't even returned her the electric cooker he borrowed from her. After paying the money, Xiao Chen carefully put away the medicinal materials and left the pharmacy. Grandpa Chen, this man is so strange, Hong Yan said while looking at Xiao Chen's back. Yes, I also feel strange. The person who needs the bitter fruit should not be here. Grandpa Chen shook his head and said, Forget it, Miss Yan. Remember, we are doing business. As for what others buy and what they do, it is not our business. Yes, Grandpa Chen. Hong Yan nodded quickly. Cheng Minjing watched Xiao Chen walk out of the pharmacy. She did not know what he bought, but she guessed that it had something to do with the medicinal materials Xiao Chen brewed before. It should be something similar. Xiao Chen walked in front, while Cheng Minjing and Jean Beibei followed him. Before long, Xiao Chen heard Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice. Xiao Chen, this time, you are really being watched. What? Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Was he really targeted? But why didn't he feel it? However, Xiao Chen did not think that Elder Heaven Ancestor would lie to him about this. Although his master, Elder Heaven Ancestor, sometimes made some jokes for the sake of his elders, he would never make irresponsible remarks about such important matters. It's normal that you can't feel a warrior at LV7 internal strength. Elder Heaven Ancestor's words made Xiao Chen stagger and almost fall to the ground. 7th floor? Yesterday, there was a 4th-layer martial artist, and Xiao Chen was already unable to deal with him. Today there was a 7th-layer martial artist. How was he going to live? I can't sense any killing intent from this person. He's different from the others. Elder Heaven Ancestor's words continued ringing in Xiao Chen's ears. In fact, I saw this person this morning. He even went to your stall to buy youtiao. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. After all, an inner force stage 7 martial artist is also a human and needs to eat. But now it seems that it is not a coincidence. This person seems to be following you. Following me? No killing intent? Then why is he following me? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned and a little puzzled. According to what the Elder Heaven Ancestor said, this person had the opportunity to attack him in the morning. Whether he ran to the grocery store alone in the early morning, or packed up the stall with Tang Tang, and went back to school, it was inevitable that they would pass through a lot of deserted streets. That was the best time to attack. There was no need to wait until now. How would I know? Do you think that cultivators are so powerful that they can see through other people's thoughts? Elder Heaven Ancestor said grumpily. Besides, I can't use my strength at all. Okay. Xiao Chen could only bite the bullet and nodded, continuing to walk in the direction of the villa area. He entered the pharmacy. Elder Heaven Ancestor's next words made Xiao Chen's heart tremble. This person went to the pharmacy? Why did he go to the pharmacy? However, Xiao Chen knew that even if that person went to the pharmacy and asked the elder heaven ancestor, it would be useless. Now that the person had gone far away, with the elder heaven ancestor's perception, he may not be able to hear their conversation in the pharmacy. He could only ask Hong Yan, or the grandpa tomorrow. The person who entered the pharmacy was actually two people, not one. However, next to the stage 7 inner force martial artist was a man with sunglasses. This guy was only a stage 1 inner force martial artist. His strength was low, so he was automatically ignored by the elder heaven ancestor. This kind of stage 1 inner force martial artist had no combat ability in front of Xiao Chen. Brother Fan, please. The man with sunglasses opened the door for the stage 7 inner force martial artist and made a gesture to invite him in. The stage 7 inner force martial artist called Brother Fan nodded and walked into the pharmacy. This Brother Fan was the Cheng family's Cheng Zhongfan, Cheng Zhongming's second brother, and Cheng Minjing's second uncle. Sirs, what kind of medicine would you like to buy? Hong Yan saw that there were customers, so she put down the book in her hand and asked politely. Little girl, I want to ask you something. Cheng Zhongfan looked at Hong Yan and felt a little strange. He was shocked by this girl's temperament. How could there be such a beautiful and refined girl in a street pharmacy like this? However, Cheng Zhongfan pursued the power of the family head, not beauty. For these things that would harm the body and affect the cultivation, Cheng Zhongfan was still very restrained, and he didn't want to go further with this girl. Oh, what is it? Hong Yan nodded and asked. There was a young man who came to buy medicine just now, right? Help me get the same medicine, Cheng Zhongfan said. Hong Yan was slightly startled. She didn't know where Cheng Zhongfan came from. However, on the surface, she remained calm and said, Please wait a moment. I'll call my grandfather over. My grandfather was the one who bought the herbs. Okay. Cheng Zhongfan nodded politely. Hong Yan entered the inner room and didn't say much. She just told Grandpa Chen that someone came and wanted to buy the same medicine as Xiao Chen. The inner room of the pharmacy was not far from the outer room. If Cheng Zhongfan's ears and eyes were good, he should be able to hear it. Therefore, Hong Yan wouldn't add her own subjective opinion. Although, she also felt that the two people outside didn't come with good intentions, and it seemed that they were going to harm Xiao Chen. Oh, I understand. Grandpa Chen nodded and didn't say much. He walked out of the inner room. Sir, sorry to trouble you. No matter what, Cheng Zhongfan was a stage 7 inner force martial artist. Although his ears and eyes weren't as good as a cultivator, it was impossible for him not to hear what Hong Yan and Grandpa Chen said at such a close distance. Therefore, after listening to Hong Yan's words, he knew that Grandpa Chen already knew his purpose, so he directly said, Sorry to trouble you. Grandpa Chen skillfully grabbed a bag of medicine and placed it in front of Cheng Zhongfan. He said, 100,000 yuan. Ha! Cheng Zhongfan was stunned. What is this? Is it a treasure? A broken medicine actually costs 100,000 yuan? Moreover, Cheng Zhongfan and Cheng Zhongming were different. Cheng Zhongming was a businessman, while Cheng Zhongfan liked to study treasures since he was young. He still had a good understanding of the use of some medicine. He reached out and flipped the medicine in front of him a few times. This was obviously a tonic for strengthening the body. It didn't cost 100,000 yuan, 20,000 yuan at most. Old thing, you dare to blackmail us? The man in sunglasses was also shocked. He subconsciously wanted to pull Grandpa Chen's collar. Cheng Zhongfan waved his hand and stopped the man in sunglasses. Then he frowned and asked, Old man, this is a tonic for strengthening the body. Are you sure you sold this medicine just now? Now, what Cheng Zhongfan was troubled about wasn't how much the medicine was worth, but what Xiao Chen bought. From his point of view, it was impossible for Xiao Chen to buy this kind of tonic. Is there something wrong with Xiao Chen? He has become a poor starred. Early in the morning, he worked so hard to set up a stall to sell breakfast, and then he spent 100,000 yuan to buy a tonic? Yes, Grandpa Chen said indifferently. He spent 100,000 yuan? Cheng Zhongfan already wanted to curse. No. Grandpa Chen shook his head. Ah, then how much did he spend? Cheng Zhongfan was slightly stunned. He didn't ask for money. Grandpa Chen said, Pft, Then why did he sell it to me for 100,000 yuan? He didn't ask for money? Cheng Zhongfan was completely driven mad by the old thing in front of him. Are you playing with me? Old thing. Do you know who my boss is? The man in sunglasses also felt that he was played by the old thing. A martial artist with the inner force level 7. I'm not interested in who you are. Grandpa Chen's tone was still very indifferent. Huh. Cheng Zhongfan was stunned again. He looked at the old man in front of him in disbelief. He didn't show his strength at all, but the old man in front of him actually knew his strength level. How is this possible? Even he couldn't accurately judge the strength of the opponent when the opponent didn't show his strength. What did the old man in front of him rely on? However, no matter what, the cold sweat on Cheng Zhongfan's forehead began to appear. The old man in front of him wasn't like what he imagined, an ordinary street doctor. Old man, I'm sorry. I offended you just now. Please forgive me. I just want to ask, why did you give that young man a medicine for free? Do you know him? Cheng Zhongfan had to ask patiently. He had never heard that Xiao Chun had any powerful backing. If this old man was really a ruthless person, then the Cheng family really shouldn't offend Xiao Chun in the future. I don't know him. Grandpa Chun shook his head. Because he doesn't have money. You have money. I pitied him, so I gave him the medicine. I'm happy. Puffed. Cheng Zhongfan was a little speechless. Do you always think that I'm a fool? However, it didn't matter if this old man and Xiao Chun didn't know each other. Cheng Zhongfan's heart was at ease. He thought that this old man's temper was really weird, but it was understandable to give Xiao Chun a medicine for free. Xiao Chun had just been kicked out of the family recently. A young master sold breakfast from dawn to dusk. Xiao Chun wasn't a martial artist. He probably came to buy some medicine to nourish his body. As a result, this old man saw that Xiao Chun was pitiful, so he gave him a medicine. Xiao Chun didn't spend money, so naturally, he didn't know the value of the medicine. Thinking about it this way, it was still very reasonable. So, Cheng Zhongfan didn't want to entangle with this old man anymore. This old man was weird no matter how he looked at it. He planned to go back and inquire about the old man's background first. Old man, then I won't bother you anymore. I'll leave first. Cheng Zhongfan thought about it and said, Your medicine. Grandpa Chen pointed to the medicine on the counter and reminded, This medicine, I don't want it. Thank you. Cheng Zhongfan bought a tonic medicine, but it was useless. He was already a martial artist with inner force stage 7. His body was very strong. What kind of tonic was needed? I've already bought it. If you don't want it, who should I sell it to? Could it be that you want to renege on your debt? Grandpa Chen's face was slightly cold. Chapter 62. Sir, I don't care who you are. I've already given you face. I'm from the ancient martial arts family, the Cheng family. Cheng Zhongfan was different from Cheng Zhongming. Cheng Zhongming was a businessman and had money. Although he could fork out 100,000 yuan, he wasn't well off. What was the use of spending 100,000 yuan to buy a bunch of useless herbs? Yin Yin, write the invoice for this customer. Grandpa Chen ignored Cheng Zhongfan and instructed Hong Yin directly. Okay, Grandpa. Hong Yin could naturally hear the difference between customer and customer in her grandpa's words. These were two different groups of customers, so the invoices they took out were also different. Hong Yin took out a slightly yellow detailed list that looked like the ones in the past. There weren't any boxes on it, but the words Hong's Chamber of Commerce were written at the top of the side. Aren't you forcing me to buy and sell? Don't you want to stay in Songning City anymore? The man in shades was a little unhappy. I've already given you a lot of face for a small pharmacy. Do you really think that you're a great person? Don't you know how powerful the Cheng family in Songning City is? If you want to do business here, offending the Cheng family will be difficult. However, when Cheng Zhongfan saw the stack of invoices in Hong Yan's hand, his eyes suddenly jumped. He turned around and raised his arm. Pa! He slapped the man in shades on the face. The sunglasses on his face were directly slapped away. Shut up. The man in shades was stunned by Cheng Zhongfan's slap. He covered his red and swollen face in shock and stood there dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. However, Cheng Zhongfan didn't care about him. Instead, he politely said to Grandpa Chen, I'm sorry, old sir. My subordinates don't know the rules. You're right. The herbs have already been prepared. If I don't buy it, no one will buy it. And Grandpa Chen naturally knew why Qing Zhongfan changed so much. However, he wasn't surprised. He only snorted coldly to express that he understood. Aren't you going to take the money? This medicine is just right for you to nourish your brain. Don't you know what's good for you? Qing Zhongfan shouted at the man in shades. Yes, yes. The man in shades quickly took out a bank card from his pocket and carefully handed it to Hong Yan. Hong Yan swiped the card and let the man in shades enter the password. Then, Qing Zhongfan stuffed the bag of medicine into the man's arms and left the pharmacy dejectedly. Hong Yan covered her mouth and snickered behind him, but Qing Zhongfan didn't dare to have the slightest dissatisfaction. After exiting the door, the man in shades cautiously asked, Brother Fan, what kind of organization is that Hong Chamber of Commerce? Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Qing Zhongfan frowned. Clearly, he didn't want to say more. He just said, Come, let's go back. Inside old Master Cheng's practice room in the Cheng family's mansion, Cheng Tianqiu was sitting upright on a wooden armchair, while Cheng Zhongfan came to this room the moment he returned. How's the investigation going? Did Zhongming really make Xiaochen a servant? He didn't secretly help him, right? Cheng Tianqiu saw Cheng Zhongfan come in and asked faintly. Cheng Tianqiu wasn't stupid. He was old and shrewd. Although Cheng Zhongming said that making Xiaochen a servant was more humiliating and destroying Xiaochen's self-esteem, Cheng Tianqiu was afraid that Cheng Zhongming would use this as an excuse to secretly help Xiaochen. After all, Cheng Zhongming and Xiaofeng were sworn brothers. The relationship between the two was very deep, and Cheng Zhongming was a person who valued loyalty. Therefore, he secretly asked Cheng Zhongfan to investigate. Father, according to my investigation, Xiaochen is really miserable now, and there is no sign that eldest brother is secretly helping him. Although Cheng Zhongfan always wanted to destroy his eldest brother's image in his father's heart and replace him, he was not a fool. He knew that his father would definitely doubt him if he talked nonsense. Therefore, no matter what he did, he always talked about the problem from an objective point of view, and also to give his father a fair impression. Oh, is it really miserable? Cheng Tianqiu was slightly stunned. He thought that he was thinking too much. No matter what, Cheng Zhongming was a member of the Cheng family, and he represented the interests of the Cheng family. Even if Xiaofeng was his sworn brother, it was just a sworn brother. The missing Zhongqian was his younger brother. Yes, it seems that Minjing doesn't pay Xiaochen a penny. Xiaochen is now poor. He has to get up at 3 o'clock every day and go to the morning market to sell breakfast to make a living. This was what Cheng Zhongfan saw with his own eyes, and it couldn't be fake. He go to the morning market to sell breakfast? Cheng Tianqiu was shocked. A young master of the Xiao family, who used to have nothing to worry about, actually went to the morning market to sell breakfast? Who would believe it? Yes, Tang Tang of the Tang family also sells breakfast with him. Cheng Zhongfan said. It seems that they have a good relationship. Tang Tang. Well, I see. Cheng Tianqiu also knew about the Tang family and the Yu family. At this moment, when he heard that Tang Tang and Xiaochen were very close, he was relieved. It seemed that Xiaochen knew that he was not worthy of Cheng Minjing. So he went to find Tang Tang, who had a similar life as him. In fact, Cheng Tianqiu was most afraid that Xiaochen and Cheng Minjing would fall in love with each other after a long time. Now it seemed that this possibility was almost impossible. Xiaochen is not a martial artist. He used to be a playboy. It is estimated that after selling for 2 days, his body couldn't take it anymore. In the evening, he went to a pharmacy to get some medicine to nourish his body. As Cheng Zhongfan said this, he told Cheng Tianqiu about the Hong's Chamber of Commerce. This kid is lucky. The Hong's Chamber of Commerce gave him a medicine for free? Cheng Tianqiu shook his head after listening. What the Hong's Chamber of Commerce did was not something that the Cheng family could interfere with. For martial artists, there were 2 mysterious organizations that could not be shaken by a single family. One was the Warriors Guild, which was responsible for releasing information and trial tasks for martial artists. The other was the Hong's Chamber of Commerce, which specialized in selling elixirs and treasures for martial artists. Yes, that old thing is not a good person. He cheated me of 100,000 yuan, Cheng Zhongfan said helplessly. The way they do things has always been temperamental. Don't talk nonsense. Cheng Tianqiu looked serious and said to Cheng Zhongfan, since you know that the pharmacy is a branch of the Hong's Chamber of Commerce, don't provoke them in the future. Yes, I know. Cheng Zhongfan responded quickly. All right, don't waste your energy on a junior like Xiao Chen. Pay attention to the news of Zhongqian. Cheng Tianqiu only asked Cheng Zhongfan to investigate. Since there was no problem, he would let Xiao Chen fend for himself. Okay, father. I will go to the Warriors Guild every day to inquire about the news, Cheng Zhongfan said quickly. As soon as Xiao Chen returned to the villa, Cheng Minjing and Jean Beibei's car also stopped at the door of the villa. However, Jean Beibei couldn't stay here today. She still had to go home. It was okay to stay outside for a night occasionally, but Master Jean wouldn't agree to stay outside all the time. He treasured this granddaughter very much. Cheng Minjing got out of the car and glanced at Xiao Chen. She said, "Why did you buy medicine? What's wrong with your body?" Xiao Chen knew that this matter couldn't be hidden from Chen Mingyan, but he couldn't say everything. He just said, "In fact, it's nothing. It's just a medicine to strengthen the body. My father used to give it to me. It is said that it is more likely to cultivate internal energy after drinking it." I see. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, Cheng Minjing suddenly became silent. Xiao Chen couldn't cultivate internal energy. In fact, this was not only a worry for Xiao Chen. Once upon a time, it was also a worry for Cheng Minjing. Cheng Minjing found a good-for-nothing fiancé. How could she be happy? She would definitely be resentful. However, Cheng Minjing didn't understand this at the beginning. Now that she had been with Xiao Chen for a long time, Cheng Minjing found that Xiao Chen was actually more painful than her. It could be seen that Xiao Chen was more eager to gain strength and cultivate internal energy than anyone else. But God didn't care for him. Of course, what Cheng Minjing didn't know was that God didn't care for Xiao Chen. But Elder Heaven Ancestor cared for Xiao Chen very much. I'm going to boil the medicine. Xiao Chen smiled at Cheng Minjing. Then I will make dinner for you. There's no hurry. You go and boil the medicine first. Cheng Minjing shook her head. Surprisingly, she didn't stop Xiao Chen from brewing the medicine with her big missy temper. Xiao Chen, actually, it's fine even if you don't have inner strength. In the past, I've never despised you. Whether she despised him or not, only Cheng Minjing knew in her heart. With her current impression of Xiao Chen, she certainly wouldn't despise Xiao Chen. It was just that in the past, to be honest, she really looked down on Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen smiled. Obviously, he also knew that the miss didn't mean what she said. However, Xiao Chen was also very surprised that Cheng Minjing would actually say such words. Were these her true thoughts? Shaking his head, Xiao Chen returned to the room. Even if what the miss said was true, Xiao Chen wouldn't be naive to think that there was any result between him and Cheng Minjing now. Some things once happened couldn't go back. After setting the temperature and time for the electric clay pot, Xiao Chen went to the kitchen to prepare some food. The main course was still instant noodles. As for the dishes, they were some of the dishes that were left in the fridge yesterday. Xiao Chen took them out and heated them up in the microwave before placing them on the table. Xiao Chen and Cheng Minjing sat on one side of the table and ate. Without Jean Beibei, Cheng Minjing suddenly felt a little awkward. In the beginning, she and Xiao Chen also ate like this, but they didn't think so much. Unknowingly today, Cheng Minjing felt that she and Xiao Chen were like a newlywed couple, eating together at the dining table at home. If nothing happened to the Xiao family and the Cheng family, this scene would still happen in the future, wouldn't it? At that time, she should be Xiao Chen's wife. In the past, Cheng Minjing was very averse to this matter. But somehow when she thought of this today, she felt particularly warm, as if she had a faint expectation. How could it be possible? Cheng Minjing shook her head and shook these messy thoughts out of her head. She quietly ate her food. Chapter 63. Xiao Chen didn't think as much as Cheng Minjing. Xiao Chen was thinking about the background of the Stage 7 Inner Force martial artist who followed him today. Since this Stage 7 Inner Force martial artist had been following him for a day, It meant that he didn't have any bad intentions towards him. He just wanted to see him. So this person was sent by the Xiao family, or the Chung family. When Xiao Chun thought of these two possibilities, he calmed down slightly. The Xiao family wanted to see how he was doing, so it was reasonable for them to send someone to see him. As for the Chung family, they naturally wanted to see if he was in dire straits. I'm done eating. I'll go back to my room to see if the decoction is done. You don't have to worry about it after you finish eating. I'll come out later to clean up the dishes. Xiao Chun said as he stood up and walked back to his room. Okay. Chung Minjing was a lady, so she ate slowly. Xiao Chun had already wolfed down his food, but she was still chewing slowly. Xiao Chun returned to his room and looked at the electric clay pot. There was still some time before the decoction was done, so he laid on the bed and closed his eyes to rest for a while. Too many things had happened in the past few days, and Xiao Chun couldn't digest it all. He had turned from a good-for-nothing young master into a mysterious and awesome cultivator. If he told others about this, perhaps no one would believe him. However, the only thing Xiao Chun had to do now was to keep a low profile. Even if no one believed him, he could not speak carelessly. After a while, the electric clay pot automatically cut off the power. The decoction was done. Xiao Chun poured out the decoction and drank it in one gulp. Then, he began to slowly cultivate and refine the decoction in his stomach, according to the mantra of the art of stealing heaven's fortune. Estimating that it was almost time for Miss to eat dinner, Xiao Chun temporarily ended his cultivation. He pushed the door open and went out of the room. Miss was no longer in the living room. Originally, Xiao Chun thought that Chung Minjing had gone upstairs to rest, but when he turned around, he found that the young miss was actually in the kitchen, standing in front of the sink, washing the dishes clumsily. When did Chung Minjing do these things at home? However, she took the initiative to give it a try today. At this moment, she somewhat admired Xiao Chun. She really didn't know how a young master like him could change his mentality and adapt to these housework. Of course, that was not all. Xiao Chun could actually sell breakfast, while Chung Minjing didn't even know how to wash dishes. She suddenly felt that the useless one was not Xiao Chun, but herself. Xiao Chun didn't expect that Chung Minjing would wash the dishes herself. This made Xiao Chun speechless. He couldn't continue after saying the word you. However, it was better not to say it. Once he said it, the young miss, who was already a little flustered, was shocked. The hand that was holding the porcelain bowl trembled, and the porcelain bowl fell directly from her hand. With a clang sound, it fell to the ground and suddenly broke into pieces. Coincidentally, a piece of the explosion directly hit her smooth foot, and suddenly blood flowed. Ah, my foot! Chung Minjing screamed. Looking at her bleeding foot, she was a little scared and screamed. Xiao Chun, are you a ghost? You scared me to death without a sound. Ugh, I'm sorry. Xiao Chun suddenly had a headache. He didn't expect that his words would scare the young Mississippi. However, it had already happened. Xiao Chun could only bite the bullet and apologize, although he didn't think that he had done anything wrong. What's the use of apologizing? My foot is already broken. Chung Minjing wasn't that weak. After all, she was the young miss of an ancient martial arts family. She had suffered since she was a child. She was just shocked by the blood on her foot. She wasn't afraid of pain, but she was afraid of blood. Sorry, let me help you get the medicine box. After Xiao Chun finished speaking, he was slightly stunned. He and the young miss had just moved to the villa for a few days. They didn't prepare the medicine box. Where could I get the medicine box? Thinking of this, Xiao Chun had no choice but to go upstairs to find Yi Xiaoya. He hoped that she had something like a hemostatic medicine. On the second floor of the villa, Xiao Chun had never gone up except for the first time, when he helped the young miss carry her things. He came to the second floor and knocked on the door of Yi Xiaoya's room. Who is it? Soon, Yi Xiaoya's voice came from the room. It seemed that Yi Xiaoya was at home, but she didn't go downstairs before. It's me, Xiao Chun, said Xiao Chun. With a caw sound, the door was opened. As soon as the door was opened, a strong smell of medicine came out. However, Xiao Chun was used to boiling medicine in his own room, so it didn't matter. Through the thick steam, Xiao Chun saw Yi Xiaoya in yoga clothes. Her face was flushed and full of sweat. To be honest, It was the first time that Xiaochen saw such a youthful and lovely Yi Xiaoya. Yi Xiaoya was cold and expressionless before. At this moment, Yi Xiaoya was really like a girl of this age. The yoga clothes were very cool. Except for the important parts that were wrapped, most of the beautiful white skin was exposed. Girls who practiced martial arts were different. Although the skin on the body was very white, it was very tight. There was no trace of fat. It was very healthy and beautiful. Have you seen enough? What are you doing here? Yi Xiaoya's cold voice pulled Xiaochen back to reality from YY. Xiaochen laughed dryly. He was a little embarrassed. Do you have a first aid kit or medicine to stop the bleeding? No. Yi Xiaoya said faintly. What's wrong with you? Cheng Minjing's foot was cut. Xiaochen said. If you don't have it, then I will go to the pharmacy. Thank you. Wait. Yi Xiaoya said. In the flower bed downstairs, pluck a random herb from the bottom left corner, chew it, and apply it on the wound. It's very effective in stopping bleeding, and it won't leave any scars. Xiaochen didn't expect Yi Xiaoya to plant this kind of herb. He was slightly stunned, but then he nodded and said, Okay, thank you. Yi Xiaoya didn't say anything and banged the door closed. Xiaochen helplessly shrugged and quickly ran downstairs, then directly rushed out of the villa. He came to the front of Yi Xiaoya's flower bed and found the herb that Yi Xiaoya was talking about. Hey, this is spirit healing grass. I didn't think that someone would actually plant it here. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice sounded in Xiaochen's ear, which scared Xiaochen. What spirit healing grass? Xiaochen asked in a strange way. It's nothing, it's a very low-level healing herb in the cultivation world. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. Why are you still so surprised when your level is extremely low? Xiaochen was somewhat speechless. Your surprise really scared me out of my wits. It's low level in the cultivation world, but it doesn't mean that it's common in the secular world. It's very difficult for spirit healing grass to grow in the secular world. It's really strange that it can grow here. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Forget it, it doesn't matter if it's strange or not. Xiaochen directly reached out and plucked one. When he returned to the villa's kitchen, the young miss was still bleeding. Minjing, chew this herb in your mouth and apply it to the wound. This is Yi Xiaoya's herb. It's said that it's very effective and won't leave a scar. Xiaochen handed the spirit healing grass to Cheng Minjing and said, Chew. You want me to eat this dirty grass with mud on it? Cheng Minjing was so angry that her eyes widened. Can't you help me mash it? Xiaochen was about to agree when he heard Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice. Xiaochen, don't waste your time. It's useless to mash it. The spirit healing grass needs saliva to be effective. Minjing, this herb needs to be chewed. It's only effective with saliva, Xiaochen explained. Cheng Minjing was stunned. She didn't know that there was such a saying. How come she had never heard of it? Was Xiaochen lying to her on purpose? But what would he gain from lying to her? Cheng Minjing couldn't understand. I say, young miss, hurry up and decide your leg. Xiaochen reminded Cheng Minjing with a bitter smile when he saw that she was in a daze. Then you can chew it and help me apply it. It's not like you don't know that I'm scared of blood. Cheng Minjing found an excuse for herself. Although she felt weird asking Xiaochen to chew it and apply it on her leg, she couldn't care so much at this time. She was indeed scared of blood and didn't want to do it herself. Scared of blood? It was the first time Xiaochen knew that Cheng Minjing was scared of blood. Why didn't she get scared when he beat Ma Gangmen in the sports hall? In fact, what Xiaochen didn't know was that young miss didn't get scared when he beat Ma Gangmen. But if Ma Gangmen beat him, young miss would faint. However, Xiaochen didn't ask any further questions. He placed the healing spirit grass in his mouth and chewed it up before applying it to the eldest young mistress' feet. When Xiaochen's fingers touched her feet, the eldest young mistress' body trembled slightly. In ancient times, a woman's leg was the most private part of her body. She absolutely couldn't let any man other than her husband touch it. If a man accidentally touched a woman's chest or buttocks, it wouldn't be a big deal, but her leg must never be touched. In ancient times, there were many erotic pictures. All parts of a woman's body could be naked, but only her legs were never naked in the pictures. It was enough to show how secretive this position was. Although modern people didn't care about such things, Chung Minjing was the young miss of an ancient martial arts family. She more or less retained the habits of ancient times. Although her feet could be naked, she still felt very uncomfortable when a man touched them. However, she also knew that Xiao Chun was applying medicine for her, so she endured it. It's done. In fact, the wound on young Mrs. Leg wasn't big. It was just that there was a lot of blood, and it was a little scary. After Xiao Chun cleaned it and applied medicine, it wasn't so scary anymore. Chung Minjing looked at her leg and was a little shy. She didn't thank him and quickly went upstairs. Obviously, she was hiding from Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun didn't care. He cleaned up the broken pieces on the kitchen floor and then continued to finish young Mrs. unfinished work. Chapter 64. The next day was Saturday. It was also the first weekend that Xiao Chun and the miss shared a house. However, Xiao Chun got up early in the morning and left the villa. He had to sell breakfast on Saturday. Not only did he have to sell breakfast, but he also had to sell food for the whole day. It wasn't easy for her to not go to school for a day. Tang Tang naturally wanted to earn more money. In the past, Tang Tang spent every weekend like this, but it was the first time with Xiao Chun. Tang Tang, why did you send so many noodles? When Xiao Chun came to the aunt's grocery store, he saw Tang Tang loading things into the tricycle. When he saw such a huge amount of noodles, he couldn't help but be shocked. This is 3 times more than the usual morning. Who is Tang Tang selling to? We can sell breakfast today until noon. It's the weekend. Many office workers have to sleep late. When they wake up, it's already noon. It takes a long time to sell. Of course, we have to prepare more. Tang Tang said, don't worry. With your ability, selling these noodles is a piece of cake. Xiao Chun thought about it and agreed. Selling more is money, but he was still a little puzzled. Then, do you still sell breakfast in the afternoon? Of course not in the afternoon. In the afternoon, there will be fried dough twists, so I prepared an extra portion of noodles. Usually, I don't need so much. 1/3 is the most, but you are now the prince of Youtiao. Fried dough twists may also sell well, so I prepared some more. Tang Tang patted Xiao Chun's shoulder. Buddy, it's up to you. Aren't there so many boxed lunches and pig trotters now? You are about to become the prince of Youtiao fried dough twists. It's rare to see such a handsome guy fried dough twists. It's the most popular for those aunties. Poof! Xiao Chun listened to Tang Tang's words and suddenly became speechless, but his hands didn't stop. He kept helping Tang Tang to move things into the tricycle. Xiao Chun pedaled in front, and Tang Tang sat behind. The breeze blew and blew Tang Tang's bangs. Tang Tang fixed her hair and looked at Xiao Chun's back. There was a sweet feeling in her heart. At this moment, a black car passed by them. The driver was a man who looked like a boss. In the passenger seat of the car, there was a student carrying a backpack. The student said, Dad, look, those 2 people are so young. It's really hard for them to come out early in the morning to sell breakfast. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't study hard. I took you to tutor early in the morning, and you thought it was hard. Now look at what is hard. If you don't study hard, you'll end up like them when you grow up, working from dawn to dusk to sell breakfast. The boss-like man lectured. In the early morning, there were not many cars on the road. Xiao Chun was also a cultivator, so his ears and eyes were extraordinary. He immediately heard the conversation between the father and son in the car, which made Xiao Chun very speechless. Had he become a negative example? Looking at the black car, Xiao Chun shook his head helplessly. When he was in the Xiao family, he wouldn't even bother to drive a car that cost hundreds of thousands of yuan. There were even a few sports cars worth tens of millions. But I think they are also very good. Look at how happy that sister is, said the pupil. What's there to be happy about? Look at her, she looks like a pig. If you don't study hard, you'll marry such a wife in the future, the boss said with a straight face. Nowadays, beautiful women would rather sit in a luxury car and cry than sit behind a tricycle and smile. Only this kind of people will smile. Oh, the pupil nodded as if he understood. Originally, Xiao Chun had become a negative example. He was indeed down and out, and he was not afraid of others talking about it. However, this person actually talked about Tang Tang, which made Xiao Chun unable to bear it. He looked sideways and saw a broken triangle on the road not far ahead. So Xiao Chun pretended to ride over as if nothing had happened, and then kicked hard. The triangle flew toward the tire of the car in front of him. With a puff sound, the tire was pierced by the triangle, and the right rear wheel instantly deflated. The boss had no choice but to stop the car to check. When Xiao Chun rode past him, he smiled faintly and said, "Sometimes, a car is not as good as a tricycle." The boss listened to Xiao Chun's words and was somewhat inexplicable. He did not know that Xiao Chun had heard their conversation before, nor did he know that the tire was broken by Xiao Chun. So he glared at Xiao Chun and said, "It's none of your business." Xiao Chun did not pay attention to him and rode away. "Xiao Chun, what did you say to that person just now?" Tang Tang was a little inexplicable. She thought that Xiao Chun was not the kind of person who liked to take the initiative to provoke and sarcastic people. Was the young master's sense of superiority acting up again? "He scolded you," said Xiao Chun. "Scolded me?" Tang Tang was stunned. He said to his son that if he didn't study hard in the future, he would ride a tricycle like me and marry a wife like you, said Xiao Chun. Like me? Tang Tang was not stupid. She immediately understood what Xiao Chun meant. That person laughed at her appearance and was heard by Xiao Chun. Hee, but I think you are very good. Xiao Chun smiled and said, "In fact, what he said is also right. We are a good match." Xiao Chun was afraid that Tang Tang would be unhappy, so he also belittled himself. "Well, Xiao Chun, I am not that fragile. You are right. We are really a good match, hee. Tang Tang laughed. As the two people talked and laughed, they came to the morning market street. Xiao Chun set up the stall and began a new day. Not long after the breakfast stall opened, it was crowded. In fact, several breakfast stalls nearby were still very envious of Tang Tang. But usually, Tang Tang only opened in the morning, and they could open all day, so they did not reject Tang Tang. However, it was different during the weekend. These people were also jealous. However, their skills were not as good as others, and there was no reason to cause trouble. These people could only bear it. When Miss Tang got up, it was already 8 o'clock, and she was woken up by a phone call. The person who called was her best friend Shen Jingxian. "Minjing, how is your cohabitation with Xiao Chun?" Shen Jingxian said with a smile. "Jingxian, what are you talking about? How can it be cohabitation? He is my servant, okay?" When Cheng Minjing heard that it was her best friend, she immediately became spirited. "Isn't that still living together?" Shen Jingxian smiled and said, "Do you have time today? Can I go and see you?" In fact, Shen Jingxian was also very helpless. Today the Shen family assigned her a task. Chen Jingquan from the Chen family came as a guest, so the Shen family asked Shen Jingxian to accompany Chen Jingquan for a walk outside to get to know each other. In fact, it was no secret that Chen Jingquan from the Chen family was pursuing Shen Jingxian, and the Shen family was also optimistic about Chen Jingquan. At such a young age, he was already a warrior of the third fold internal force, and his future was limitless. Therefore, the Shen family agreed to the marriage between the two families. Today, the marriage between the Shen family and the Chen family was officially confirmed. Therefore, as the person involved, Shen Jingxian, as a member of the Shen family, must follow the wishes of the elders, no matter whether she agreed or not. The Shen family wanted to extend their power to Songning City, and the Chen family was a good choice. Therefore, there was this marriage. Although Shen Jingxian knew that she couldn't resist this kind of thing, just like Cheng Minjing and Xiao Chun before, she was still very unhappy when things really happened to her. She didn't want to be alone with Chen Jingquan. Even if they were to be together in the future, she didn't want to be alone now. Therefore, she had an idea, which was to visit Cheng Minjing with Chen Jingquan. This was a dignified reason, and Chen Jingquan would definitely not refuse. Sure enough, when Shen Jingxian made this request, Chen Jingquan didn't refuse, but agreed readily. In fact, Chen Jingquan also had his own plans. In his opinion, if he could cultivate feelings with Shen Jingxian, going anywhere was the same. Going to Cheng Minjing's house was the same. Going to the amusement park and the cinema was the same. He simply followed Shen Jingshuan's wishes, and it would also make him look elegant. Moreover, the most important thing was that Chen Jingquan and Xiao Chen didn't get along well in the past. He was Shen Jingshuan's pursuer, and so was Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen publicly expressed his love for Shen Jingxian more than once, so Chen Jingquan hated Xiao Chen to the core. Of course, it was also because of his younger brother, Chen Jinping. Chen Jinping and Chen Jingquan didn't get along well either. They were born from the same root, so why would they be so eager to torture each other? But this was the case in many big families. There was only one heir, so brothers often fought with each other. Although Chen Jinping was no longer Xiao Chen's younger brother, the hatred between Chen Jingquan and Xiao Chen hadn't been resolved. How could Chen Jingquan let go of the opportunity to ridicule Xiao Chen? Ah, come here. That's great. I'm bored. Come here. When Cheng Minjing heard that Shen Jingxian wanted to come, she naturally agreed happily. After the phone call, Cheng Minjing got up and washed up. When she finished dressing, there was a roar of a car engine outside the villa. She looked out of the window and saw a Bugatti Veyron sports car parked at the door of the villa. Shen Jingxian and Chen Jingquan got out of the car. Seeing them, Cheng Minjing frowned slightly. Chen Jingquan also came, which was somewhat out of Cheng Minjing's expectation. Although Chen Jingquan and Shen Jingshuan's relationship was very popular before, the two families didn't show up after all. Now that they were together publicly, this matter should be settled. Thinking that Shen Jingxian also had to go through the troubles of marriage, Cheng Minjing sighed secretly and went to open the door for them. Minjing, I missed you so much. As soon as Shen Jingxian entered the door, she smiled slightly and hugged Cheng Minjing. Chen Jingquan stood on the side and nodded to Cheng Minjing with a smile. Jingxian, you guys? Although Cheng Minjing had already guessed the general situation, she still couldn't help but ask. Miss Cheng, let me introduce myself. I'm Jingshuan's fiancé now. I heard that you're Jingshuan's best friend, so the two of us came to visit together, said Chen Jingquan. Shen Jingxian was actually a little helpless about him calling her fiancé, but she had no choice. Her family had already agreed, so what could she do? She could only vaguely interrupt. Minjing, where's Xiao Chen? Chapter 65. When Cheng Minjing mentioned Xiao Chen, she felt a little helpless in her heart. But on the surface, she naturally couldn't show her concern for Xiao Chen. If it was only Shen Jingxian, it would be fine. But now there was an outsider like Chen Jingquan. She naturally said with a cold face, it seems that he went to sell breakfast. Sell breakfast? Shen Jingxian was slightly stunned, and Chen Jingquan was also stunned. Why did Xiao Chen go to sell breakfast? Oh, it's good enough to keep him here. Don't expect me to give him money. If he wants to live, he should earn his own money, Cheng Minjing said coldly. But a useless young master like him has no ability, so he can only sell breakfast. Shen Jingxian naturally knew that Cheng Minjing was not such a cold-blooded person. She probably had other reasons for saying this, but now because Chen Jingquan was on the side, she couldn't say it clearly. But she still said, that Xiao Chen is really pitiful. Minjing, although he was not very good before and always made you angry, now he is down and out. We can't just ignore him, right? Shen Jingshuan's character was like this. No one would think that it was inappropriate for her to say such words, especially Chen Jingquan. After listening to Shen Jingshuan's words, he had a plan in his mind. He smiled calmly and said, in this case, I think it's better for us to go to the place where he sells breakfast and visit him. Eating some of his breakfast can be considered as helping him. Chen Jingquan's real purpose was to humiliate Xiao Chen. He also wanted to let Shen Jingxian see that this kind of trash was not worthy of pursuing her. Of course, Chen Jingquan didn't think that Shen Jingxian would fall in love with Xiao Chen, but he was a narrow-minded person who liked to be jealous. Shen Jingxian naturally knew what kind of person Chen Jingquan was. They had known each other for a long time. Although they didn't have a clear relationship before, Shen Jingxian still paid close attention to Chen Jingquan, who was likely to have a marriage alliance. So when she was about to refuse, Cheng Minjing said, that's fine. I want to see Xiao Chen's miserable look. Humph humph humph. In fact, she didn't know what was really on her mind. She wanted to know what Xiao Chen's life was like now. She wanted to see how he and Tang Tang sold breakfast every day. Just now, Chen Jingquan was afraid that no one would support him if he humiliated Xiao Chen. Now, seeing Cheng Minjing's attitude, he was immediately relieved. At that time, even if Shen Jingxian was unhappy, he could say that he did it to please her bestie. The three of them went out of the villa together. Chen Jingquan's silver Bugatti Veyron was a two-seater sports car, which could only take 2 people. But Miss Tang didn't have a car, which made Chen Jingquan a little embarrassed. Well, Jingxian, how about you and Cheng Minjing drive, and I take a taxi? When he was in a dilemma, a beetle stopped in front of the villa. It was Jean Bei's car. Cousin Minjing, aren't you going to buy a car today? Jean Bei opened the window and shouted to Cheng Minjing. Sister Jingxian, you're here too. Oh, it's Bei. Shen Jingxian knew Jean Bei too. She greeted her. Chen Jingquan's face slightly changed. He had heard a thing or two about Jean Bei, and was unwilling to have anything to do with her. He simply greeted her politely. Miss Jean, you're here. Jean Bei looked at Chen Jingquan, and obviously did not want to talk to him. She turned to Cheng Minjing, and asked her what was going on. Jingxian, I happen to be in Bei's car. Why don't you go first? Cheng Minjing said to Jean Bei. All right. Shen Jingxian nodded, and got into Chen Jingquan's car. Cheng Minjing opened the door of the beetle, and sat down next to Jean Bei. The 2 cars started slowly, and went to the morning street one after the other. Cousin Minjing, where are you going? Jean Bei was still confused. She only knew that she was following Chen Jingquan, but she did not know where they were going. Jingxian and Chen Jingquan are going to visit Xiao Chen. As she spoke, Cheng Minjing repeated their conversation to Jean Bei. Then she reminded her, Bei, don't call out to Xiao Chen later. If other people know that we are close to Xiao Chen, my family will certainly be unhappy. So you know. Don't worry, Cousin Minjing. I'm not stupid. I can just call my cousin-in-law at home. Rest assured, I won't tell anyone your secret. Jean Bei patted her chest and said, You, what secret do I have? You, what secret do I have? Cheng Minjing was immediately annoyed, but she did not dare to refute her, fearing that Jean Bei would say something inappropriate again if she did. The 2 cars stopped on the morning market street one after the other. Jean Bei's beetle was not eye-catching. After all, a car worth about 300,000 yuan was not really a luxury car nowadays. However, Chen Jingquan's Bugatti Veyron was a bit cool and eye-catching. The morning street was full of hawkers. Although some cars were parked on the roadside, and their drivers got out to buy breakfast, it was the first time that they had seen such a luxurious car. When they were guessing what they were going to do, they did not expect that the 4 of them would get out of their cars and walk straight to Xiao Chen's and Tang Tang's breakfast stall. The other hawkers could not help but exclaim, Are the deep-fried dough sticks so good? Even a second-generation rich kid driving a sports car came here because of its fame? Of course, Xiao Chen also saw Chen Jingquan and his companions. He frowned, not expecting that the eldest lady, Jean Bei, and Shen Jingxian would also come here. What are they doing here? Are they here to make fun of me? If it were before, Xiao Chen would definitely think so. However, after knowing the eldest lady's character, he knew that the eldest lady was definitely not a superficial person. Therefore, he decided to wait and see. Xiao Chen ignored them, and continued to cook deep-fried dough sticks in the pan skillfully. Although Tang Tang also saw Cheng Minjing and her companions, she did not know what they were here for. Since Xiao Chen did not say anything, she naturally continued to sell the deep-fried dough sticks. However, the appearance of Shen Jingxian made Xiao Chen's heart slightly tremble. This is the girl that I used to like a little bit. She has a gentle personality and a warm smile. She is the first goddess in the hearts of all the boys in the school. However, things had changed with the passage of time. Xiao Chen also knew his place. Therefore, he hid these thoughts in the bottom of his heart, and did not even look at her at this moment. Haha, isn't this Xiao Chen? In the past, I really couldn't tell that you, Xiao Chen, were a person with a hidden talent. You have consummate skills, and a divine technique to protect your body. This fried dough stick is simply better than a 5-star hotel. Chen Jingquan's words sounded like he was praising Xiao Chen. But in fact, he was mocking Xiao Chen. How could Xiao Chen not know that? A touch of anger appeared on Xiao Chen's face. His hands were trembling, and he almost raised the pan of oil and splashed it on Chen Jingquan's face. Of course, he was pretending. To be honest, he did not put Chen Jingquan in his eyes at all. Although the Chen family's people were detestable, they were still much easier to deal with than those people hiding behind the scenes who wanted to kill Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was only maintaining his previous personality. If people knew that he was so calm even though he was in such dire straits, who would believe that there was no reason for it? Xiao Chen did not want to expose the fact that he was a cultivator prematurely. Thank you for the compliment. Xiao Chen took a deep breath and seemed to calm down, but the next words were a little explosive. If you want to buy it, line up at the back. If you don't want to buy it, don't stand here and get in the way. Xiao Chen's action made Chen Jingquan secretly happy. If it were the previous Xiao Chen, he would definitely explode. But now, he could only swallow his anger. He could only use line up to fight back. However, did he need to line up? Chen Jingquan directly took out 500 yuan bills from his pocket and shook them in front of Xiao Chen. He said, "Give me 4 sets of soybean milk and fried dough sticks. Line up at the back." Xiao Chen said coldly, "Yeah, how can you cut the line? We have been waiting in line for a long time. Is there anyone like you?" When Xiao Chen said this, the customers who were waiting in line at the back suddenly became unhappy. "I bought it at a high price. What's wrong with cutting the line? If you have the ability, why don't you spend it too? If you spend 1,000 yuan, I will definitely let you buy it first. How about it? If you don't have money, shut up." Chen Jingquan came to humiliate Xiao Chen, so he naturally wouldn't let it go. However, Xiao Chen didn't seem to have any special coveting for the 500 yuan in his hand. Xiao Chen was already in such a poor state. How could he not be tempted? He was pretending. He was definitely pretending. Chen Jingquan felt that Xiao Chen's face as a young master must have flared up again. He was embarrassed to accept his charity, so he increased his strength. 1,000 yuan. Give me 4 sets. Hurry up. Line up at the back. Xiao Chen still said without raising his head. Xiao Chen, don't be so shameless. Who do you think you are? If it weren't for Minjing's face, would I come here to eat? Chen Jingquan's face was a little embarrassed. He came to humiliate Xiao Chen, but he was humiliated by Xiao Chen, a person who sold breakfast. In his opinion, he took out money to give to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen should greet him with a smile and bow to him. Wasn't he short of money? Impossible. If he wasn't short of money, he would sell his breakfast hammer. 5,000 yuan. Consider it as a reward from me. Sir, how many fried dough sticks do you want? Although Tang Tang was stunned by Chen Jingquan's nouveau riche behavior, Xiao Chen made it clear that he didn't want the money. Tang Tang naturally wouldn't accept it. She directly passed Chen Jingquan and asked the old man behind him, "Give me 10 yuan. The old man handed over a 10 yuan bill and said to Tang Tang, "Okay." Tang Tang nodded and began to weigh it skillfully. Chen Jingquan's face was gloomy and terrible at this moment. He couldn't directly beat Xiao Chen in front of Shin Jingxian. After all, he said that he was here to support Xiao Chen. It wasn't right to beat Xiao Chen. Therefore, Tang Tang became the target of his venting. *TCH, didn't you hear me? Chen Jingquan was burning with anger. He threw a stack of bills directly on Tang Tang's face, making a crisp sound. "Hurry up and give me 4 sets of fried dough sticks and soy milk." Chapter 66. Tang Tang didn't expect that Chen Jinping would do it directly. She was stunned for a while. Originally, Xiao Chen had been pretending to be a very angry young master. But at this moment, Xiao Chen really couldn't bear it. The banknote hitting Tang Tang's face was like hitting Xiao Chen's heart. He didn't care whether he offended the Chen family or not. Anyway, he had offended several families. One more Chen family wouldn't make a difference. Xiao Chen raised the boiling pan of fried dough sticks and was about to put it on Chen Jingquan's head. Tang Tang didn't expect that Xiao Chen would make such a drastic move. She knew Chen Jingquan. She knew that if Xiao Chen really poured the pan of oil on Chen Jingquan's head, Even if Chen Jingquan was a warrior at the third level of internal force, he would be scalded. He would definitely be disfigured. So Tang Tang was anxious and quickly hugged Xiao Chen from behind. Xiao Chen, don't be impulsive. Chen Jingquan was also shocked. He didn't expect that Xiao Chen would dare to do this. Originally, he thought that Xiao Chen would always be a teenage mutant ninja turtle. A wise man knows when to retreat. Although he was very angry at this moment, he still took advantage of Tang Tang's buffer to quickly leave the fried dough stick stall. Xiao Chen put down the pan of oil and spat out a mouthful of foul air. Although he was impulsive at that moment, he had calmed down at this moment. There were many ways to deal with Chen Jingquan. There was no need to give him a handle in front of others. Xiao Chen, what are you going to do? It's a lot of money, and we even earned it. It's no big deal. Tang Tang was the one who was wronged, but it was Tang Tang who persuaded Xiao Chen instead. Not far away, Cheng Minjing and Shen Jingxian were also at a loss. They didn't expect that such a thing would happen. Of course, they also understood that Chen Jingquan's approach was indeed a bit too much. Of course, Cheng Minjing still felt a little uncomfortable in her heart. What did Xiao Chen mean by this? Was he angry because of a beauty? First it was Lin, then it was Shen Jingxian, and now it was Tang Tang. Was she that bad? Why didn't he get angry for her? In any case, she was his ex-fiancée, right? Jean Beibei, on the other hand, looked at Xiao Chen with interest and seemed to be deep in thought. Humph. Xiao Chen, you're really something. I'm here to support you out of goodwill and give you money. But this is your attitude. I don't think you should open your breakfast stall anymore. I'll find a few brothers to come over tomorrow. Let's see if you can still do business then. The brothers that Chen Jingquan mentioned were, of course, a group of rich playboys. These people were not good at other things, but they were good at making trouble. With these people around, how could Xiao Chen do business? Cheng Menjing was a little unhappy about Chen Jingquan's attitude, but she couldn't show her support for Xiao Chen in public. At this time, Chen Jingquan turned to Tang Tang again. Fat girl, are you Xiao Chen's girlfriend? He cares about you, doesn't he? Very well, maybe he will care more about you tomorrow. Usually, Chen Jingquan was a relatively steady person. Although he was a bit like a rich playboy, he had a sense of propriety. Today, he was really angry, so he said those words. Of course, don't think that he just said it casually, because he meant what he said. Jingxian, Cheng Minjing, wait for me here. I'll go to a 5-star hotel to buy breakfast for you. We'll eat here. Let's show Xiao Chen that without Butcher Zhang, I won't be able to eat a depilate pig. After that, Chen Jingquan angrily got into his Bugatti Veyron. The engine roared, but the car didn't directly leave the morning market street. Chen Jingquan couldn't bear it. He and Xiao Chen didn't get along. At that time, he couldn't deal with Xiao Chen, because Xiao Chen had the halo of the young master of the Xiao family. But now, he didn't have so many taboos. As long as he didn't do it in front of Shen Jingxian and Cheng Minjing, it would be fine. Chen Laosan? I'm Chen Jingquan. Chen Jingquan called Chen Laosan, a disciple of the Chen family. Young Master Quan, it's me. What can I do for you? Chen Laosan received Chen Jingquan's call and immediately became very respectful. He also knew that Chen Jingquan was the successor of the Chen family. So if he wanted to continue to have a good position in the Chen family, he must please Chen Jingquan. Find me a few people to come to the morning market street tomorrow and smash up Xiao Chen's stall. Beat him until he's disabled. Just don't beat him to death. As for the fat girl next to him, find a few underlings and gang rape her. Chen Jingquan ordered coldly. Xiao Chen? Chen Laosan was stunned. He naturally knew Xiao Chen. He also knew the grudge between Chen Jingquan and Xiao Chen. Even the second young master, Chen Jinpeng, and Xiao Chen had a falling out. He was just puzzled. Why did Xiao Chen go to sell breakfast? Yes, Xiao Chen is selling breakfast on the morning market street. You come and get him for me. Chen Jingquan said. Okay, that's it for now. Yes, I understand. Chen Laosan was a disciple of a steward of the Chen family. He ran a security company under him. He was considered to be half black and half white. Chen Jingquan naturally looked for him for this kind of thing. After hanging up the phone, Chen Jingquan started the car and went to a 5-star hotel to buy breakfast. On the other side, Xiaochen seemed to be frying the fried dough sticks calmly, but a surge of hostility suddenly gushed out from his heart. Xiaochen clearly heard Chen Jingquan's words in the car. He was a cultivator, so this distance was no problem for him. Xiaochen didn't feel anything about finding trouble with him. He would deal with it when it came. However, Chen Jingquan's last sentence made Xiaochen's anger that he had just suppressed burst out again. Make a move on Tang Tang? Find someone to gang rape her? Very well. Let's see if anyone will listen to you after you are dead. Now in Xiaochen's eyes, there was no restriction between the families. If you want to kill my friend, I will kill you first. Tang Tang, you hold on for a while. I'm going to the toilet. Xiaochen said to her calmly. Okay. Tang Tang didn't think much about it. After all, people eat grains. Who doesn't go to the toilet? In the past, Xiaochen also went to the toilet. Cheng Minjing saw Xiaochen leave and gritted her teeth. Xiaochen. Xiaochen looked at the young miss. How could he not know what she meant? He smiled at her and expressed enough kindness. This made Cheng Minjing's heart relieved. It seemed that Xiaochen understood her difficulties. However, Xiaochen didn't have time to say anything to Cheng Minjing. He pretended to have a stomachache and left the morning street in a hurry. Elder Heaven Ancestor, which direction did he go? Xiaochen asked secretly. On the left side of the morning street. Elder Heaven Ancestor naturally knew what Xiaochen was thinking. I say, Xiaochen, you don't want to fight on the street, do you? The opponent is a stage 3 inner force warrior. Although you have a chance of winning, the chance of winning is not very high. I don't need to fight. Elder Heaven Ancestor, just do me a favor later. Xiaochen was not stupid. If he fought with Chen Jingquan on the street, wouldn't it be equal to exposing his strength to the public? Right now, Xiaochen didn't want to expose his strength too early. Xiaochen walked out of the morning street and walked to the left. Then he found a hidden bench on the side of the road and sat down. Since Chen Jingquan left from this side, he must be coming back from this side. Xiaochen didn't have to worry about not seeing Chen Jingquan at all. Chen Jingquan was afraid that Shen Jingxian and the others would wait too long. So he came and went in a hurry. He bought 4 servings of soybean milk and fried dough sticks in a high-end hotel and drove back. His car was a sports car. Early in the morning on the weekend, there weren't many cars on the road, so the advantage of a sports car was obvious. Suddenly, Xiaochen opened his eyes. In the distance, the silver Bugatti Veyron had already entered his perception range. He had to thank Chen Jingquan for this. If it wasn't for his car being too eye-catching, Xiaochen wouldn't have been able to discover it so easily. Elder Heaven Ancestor, help me make Chen Jingquan hit the garbage truck on the opposite side. A touch of coldness flashed in Xiaochen's eyes. Haha, Xiaochen, you can't be so impulsive. I was just wondering what you wanted me to help you with. So it's this. Elder Heaven Ancestor used to be a person in the cultivation world. There were no cars there, so he didn't think that Chen Jingquan would die in a car accident. So he was very surprised. Now he realized that Xiaochen wanted to kill him secretly. It was easy for Elder Heaven Ancestor to influence a stage 3 inner force martial artist's decision. Chen Jingquan's silver sports car suddenly changed direction and went straight to the back of a garbage truck that was parked on the side of the road. Boom! The car accident happened in an instant. In the blink of an eye, the whole Bugatti Veyron squeezed into the back of the truck, and Chen Jingquan's head was crushed in an instant. For a moment, the roadside was drenched with blood. Next to the truck, the worker who operated the garbage forklift was scared. Looking at the blood and debris on the ground, he didn't know what to do. A stage 3 inner force martial artist was still too weak. In the face of the absolute crushing of the car accident, there was no hope of survival. Xiaochen didn't even bother to look at it. He got up from the bench and quickly ran to the morning market street. After returning to the breakfast stall, Xiaochen pretended that nothing had happened. Seeing Tang Tang's busy and sweaty face, he had a strange feeling in his heart. Working people were the cutest. Tang Tang, are you busy? Let me do it. As Xiaochen spoke, he took over the work from Tang Tang skillfully. As for Cheng Minjing and Shen Jingxian, they stood not far away awkwardly, not knowing whether to leave or stay. They didn't know what Chen Jingquan was up to. He had been gone for so long and still hadn't come back. As for Jean Bebe, they didn't know where she was. She probably went shopping on the morning market street. She had never been to such a place before. So naturally, she was full of curiosity. After a while, Jean Bebe suddenly ran back with her hands on her chest, panting. She said breathlessly, "Bad news, bad news. Something big happened. My breasts are about to fall off." Although Jean Bebe's voice was not loud, it still attracted the strange looks of several young men around her. Cheng Minjing was immediately speechless. She glared at Jean Bebe and said, "Bebe, what's wrong with you? Is it a big deal if your breasts fall off? If you don't run, you will be fine, right?" Chapter 67. Shen Jingxian couldn't help but smile. She also felt that Jean Bebe, the little clown, was quite interesting. "Oh, that's not it. What I mean is that something serious happened. I just ran back and almost lost my breasts. That's not the important thing." Jean Bebe waved her hands and took a deep breath. "Chen Jingquan was killed in a car accident." "What?" Cheng Minjing and Shen Jingxian widened their eyes at the same time. Chen Jingquan was killed by a car accident? When did that happen? Is it true? "Bebe, don't talk nonsense." Cheng Minjing frowned. Although she knew that Jean Bebe must have disliked Chen Jingquan, and although Cheng Minjing didn't want to admit it, she had to admit that Jean Bebe seemed to have a good impression of Xiao Chun, because she had never seen Jean Bebe get along so well with any guy. Therefore, Jean Bebe must have hated Chen Jingquan because of the previous unpleasantness. However, even though she hated him, she couldn't curse him, could she? It must be noted that Chen Jingquan was Shen Jingshuan's fiancé after all. "I'm not talking nonsense. When I went to the street of the morning market to see if there was anything good, I heard a loud boom. A silver sports car got into the bottom of a garbage truck." Jean Bebe said vividly, "Holy sh*t. I was wondering which idiot drove the car. He died a miserable death, and his head was smashed. But when I took a closer look, I found that it was Chen Jingquan's Bugatti Veyron, wasn't it? Therefore, I hurried to inform them. Is what you said true?" Although Shen Jingxian didn't like Chen Jingquan, she couldn't do anything about it. Chen Jingquan was already her fiancé. Therefore, Chen Jingquan's death was also a big deal for the Shen family. Under such circumstances, Shen Jingxian had to take it seriously. "How could I be joking?" As Jean Bebe spoke, she turned around and looked at Xiao Chen. "Cousin-in-law, the public toilet is on the other side of the street. You went to the toilet just now, didn't you? You should have seen it too, right?" Jean Bebe's words made Xiao Chen's heart skip a beat. Just now, Jean Bebe said that she ran back as soon as she saw the car accident, which made Xiao Chen feel that something was wrong. He was also on the other side of the street, and he was on a bench some distance away from the street. He also came back after the car accident, but Jean Bebe came back a few minutes later than him, and she ran back breathlessly. Judging from the time, something was not right. However, Jean Bebe might have been dumbfounded at that time. It was also possible that she recognized that it was Chen Jingquan's car after watching for a while. Therefore, she was a bit slower. Besides, there were so many onlookers, so it was impossible for Xiao Chen to notice whether Jean Bebe was in the car or not. However, Jean Bebe's sudden question made Xiao Chen feel that Jean Bebe was hinting at something. "I came back directly. Chen Jingquan is dead." "That's good news." Xiao Chen was very happy about Chen Jingquan's death. Jean Bebe did not ask Xiao Chen anything else. Instead, she turned around and asked Cheng Minjing, "What bad luck. Cousin Minjing, what should we do now?" "Minjing, I'm so sorry. I came to see you today, but I didn't expect such a thing to happen. I'll come to see you in a few days. I have to deal with the things here with my family," Shen Jingxian said solemnly. "Okay, go ahead. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine." Cheng Minjing also knew how serious this matter was. Chen Jingquan was a junior that the Chen family paid special attention to. At such a young age, he was already a level 3 inner force warrior, which had reached the standard to be apprenticed to the warrior guild. As long as he was 18 years old, he could be apprenticed to the warrior guild officially. He had a bright future, and was no less promising than Cheng Zhongqian of the Cheng family. Cheng Minjing was very clear that Cheng Zhongqian's disappearance had caused a great shock to the Cheng family. Even Xiao Chen had become a scapegoat. Although the Chen family where Chen Jingquan was from did not have the same background as the Cheng family, it would be hard for them to let this matter go. After Shen Jingxian left, Cheng Minjing was a little embarrassed. She could neither leave nor stay here. She did not know how to explain it to Xiao Chen. Cousin-in-law, give me a serving of soybean milk. Jean Bebe, on the other hand, was hungry. She directly ran to Xiao Chen's youtiao stall and said, now that Shen Jingxian was gone and Chen Jingquan was dead, there was no need for her to pretend anymore. A serving of soybean milk. Xiao Chen was dazed for a moment. That sounded a little ambiguous. However, he knew Jean Bebe's personality very well. He nodded and picked up a bowl, preparing to fill it with soybean milk. Then he said, do you want the youtiao? No, I'm not hungry. I've already eaten too early. Cousin Minjing, do you want it? Jean Bebe said. Okay. Xiao Chen smiled. He picked up a plate and filled it with 2 youtiao and 2 bowls of soybean milk. He gave them to Jean Bebe and said, give them to Miss Tang. There are tables nearby. You can take a seat and eat. There was a row of free tables and chairs behind the morning market, which were provided by the market. Every stall only needed to pay the usage fee and the management fee every month. Although she had to pay, she did not have to worry that the regular market would be cleaned up. She could run her business here without worry. Therefore, Tang Tang was quite willing to pay the fee. Cousin-in-law, I didn't bring any money with me. Considering our relationship, you won't take my money, will you? Jean Bebe picked up the plate and left happily. You've already broken off the engagement, but you still call me cousin so intimately. It's obvious that you are just freeloading. Hearing that Jean Bebe did not pay, Tang Tang mumbled angrily. Of course, there was no telling whether she was angry because Jean Bebe did not pay or because Jean Bebe was angry. I'd love to. Although Tang Tang's voice was low, Jean Bebe still heard it. Besides, my cousin has broken off the engagement, but I haven't. Have you ever heard that my sister-in-law is Bebe? Cheng Minjing covered Jean Bebe's mouth and glared at her. Don't talk nonsense. Are you going to eat or not? If not, are you leaving? Of course, of course. Jean Bebe was dragged away to eat. Hee. Why are you bickering with a little girl? Xiao Chen shrugged helplessly. Bebe is a nice person. We are all friends. How can I ask her for money? Besides, it's just a title. Got it. Tang Tang secretly sighed. It seemed that Xiao Chen still liked Cheng Minjing. Otherwise, why would he be so happy when Jean Bebe called him cousin husband? It was obvious that he wanted to be her cousin husband. Xiao Chen was busy kneading the dough with his head lowered and did not notice Tang Tang's expression. Naturally, he did not know that Tang Tang had misunderstood him. However, Xiao Chen suddenly found that his psychological quality had become so high. He had just killed a person. Although it could be said that it was not him who killed the person, but the elder heaven ancestor, who killed the person invisibly. It was Xiao Chen's idea in the final analysis. However, Xiao Chen was unusually calm at this moment. After experiencing life and death, Xiao Chen had seen many things lightly. Relying on others was meaningless. Only relying on himself was real. He had thought that his family and his father were his biggest backers in his life. But now, he had been abandoned by his family, and his father had gone missing. His own strength was the most important thing. Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe were eating breakfast at a table nearby. Cheng Minjing did not know what to say. Tang Tang was also here, which made her feel very embarrassed. Cousin Minjing, it seems that cousin-in-law is going to have an affair. Jean Bebe said while looking at Xiao Chen and Tang Tang who were busy. You'd better care about something useful. Cheng Minjing did not want to talk about this topic anymore. Have you finished eating? Go back if you have. Oh, I've finished eating. It's cousin Minjing who hasn't. Jean Bebe pointed at the deep-fried dough sticks on Cheng Minjing's plate and said, I'll pack it up. Cheng Minjing said. When Shen Jingxian saw the scene of the car accident, she was also stunned. She had contacted her father, Shen Jinghao. Shen Jinghao was the person in charge of the Shen family in Songming City. Although the Shen family was a giant, Their foundation was not in Songning City. Although they had a lot of investments in Songning City, they had to win the support of some local forces if they wanted to establish a foothold here and establish a branch of an aristocratic family. The Shin family favored the Chen family. Of course, it did not mean that the Chen family was very powerful. On the contrary, the Chen family was not the most powerful among the 9 aristocratic families. What he valued was that the young master of the Chen family had not been engaged. Of course, it was not only the Chen family that had not been engaged. It was because Chen Jingquan of the Chen family had the strength to be superior to the juniors of other aristocratic families. Both conditions met, so Chen Jingquan naturally became Shen Jinghao's choice. This was also the reason why Shen Jingxian was engaged. However, he did not expect that Chen Jingquan would die as soon as this matter was settled. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? When Shen Jinghao arrived at the scene, Chen Jingquan's father, Chen Zhantian, had just arrived. Although Chen Zhantian was a martial artist, his son died a violent death. At this moment, he suppressed the sadness in his heart, and his whole body was trembling. He nodded to Shen Jingxian and rushed to the scene of the accident. There were already traffic police dealing with the traffic accident. I am the father of the deceased. What the hell happened? Chen Zhantian asked a traffic police officer who was dealing with the accident. Chen Zhantian was a celebrity in Songning City. He was the president of Chen's Security Supplies Group. Many police equipment were also produced by Chen's group. The captain of the traffic police squadron naturally knew Chen Zhantian. The accident was very serious. Just the vehicle involved in the accident was worth tens of millions. Therefore, the captain personally came to deal with the accident. However, he did not expect that the victim of the accident was the young master of Chen's group. President Chen, you mean the victim of the accident is? The squadron captain was shocked. He did not expect the deceased to have such a big background. Yes, what the hell happened? Chen Zhantian did not lose his temper. After all, it had nothing to do with these people. If he wanted to figure out the truth of the matter, he needed the help of these people. President Chen, it's like this. According to the witness, your son's car was originally driving normally, but it suddenly lost control and went under the garbage truck. The squadron captain explained. Chapter 68. Normal driving? Chen Zhantian couldn't help but frown. Not to mention normal driving. Even if it wasn't normal, with Chen Jingquan's strength, it wasn't difficult for him to judge in an instant. No matter how bad it was impossible for him to hide under the truck, right? At this time, Shen Jinghao asked Shen Jingxian about what happened and walked over. When he heard the words of the squadron leader, he couldn't help but ask, is it an accident, or is there something else? Shen Jinghao's question was also what Chen Zhantian wanted to ask. Although the Chen family was strong, it wasn't that they didn't have enemies. All the aristocratic families were competing with each other. It wasn't impossible to kill the heir of the Chen family and suppress the Chen family, especially when the Chen family and the Shen family cooperated. This was the rhythm of the Chen family's rise. Killing Chen Jingquan at this time was tantamount to obstructing the cooperation between the Chen family and the Shen family. According to the eyewitness, it was an accident. The squadron leader said. But our colleagues in the accident department have found the car's driving recorder, and someone went to retrieve the video of this intersection. Everything will be concluded soon. Chen Zhantian nodded and sighed. Then I'll have to trouble you. The squadron leader didn't say anything, just nodded heavily, and went to busy himself with other matters. Brother Chen, I'm sorry for your loss. This matter seems to be an accident. Shen Jinghao said. I also hope it was an accident. Chen Zhantian nodded and said, originally, you and I could still marry each other. Who would have thought that such a thing would happen? Jingquan, this child, how could he be so reckless? Chen Zhantian's voice was trembling, but he was able to restrain his grief. This was because this matter was estimated to have reached other families, and he didn't want them to laugh at him. Brother Chen, don't worry. Even if our two families didn't marry each other, this friendship is already formed. In the future, we can help each other. In fact, Shen Jinghao didn't want such a thing to happen. Shen Jingxian just married Chen Jingquan, and then Chen Jingquan died. He was also very depressed. It wasn't that Shen Jingxian couldn't get married. In fact, if he spread the news, other aristocratic families would still line up to marry Shen Jingxian. However, this also involved the issue of face. Shen Jinghao was also from a wealthy family. His fiancée just died, and it wasn't the right thing to do. At that time, it would be impossible for him to cooperate with the Chen family. This was not a situation that Shen Jinghao wanted to see. He didn't like people who were two-faced. Since they had cooperated, they should continue to cooperate. Although there was no marriage alliance, and this cooperation was not very reliable, at least he couldn't choose another family for the time being. Future matters could be discussed in the future. Hey, elder brother Shen has this kind of heart. Our Chen family is very grateful. Elder brother Shen, here is a mess. Why don't you take Jingxian back first? She has also suffered quite a shock. It's useless for you to stay here, Chen Jingquan said. All right, then we'll head back first. Shen Jinghao nodded. At this time, he also knew that he couldn't help much here. This was a sad time for the Chen family. They also needed to discuss the next countermeasures. Chen Jingquan had always been regarded as the successor of the third generation of the Chen family. The Chen family's cultivation resources were all inclined towards him. But now this person suddenly died, disrupting the Chen family's deployment. Now the Chen family had to reconsider. The scene of the car accident was quickly dealt with. At this moment, Chen Zhantian had also returned to the Chen family. In the Chen family's meeting hall, the old man of the Chen family, Chen Wuxian, had an ugly expression on his face. At this moment, this old man who was originally full of vigor suddenly aged a lot. His hands were trembling slightly. He couldn't accept the truth in front of him. The grandson he valued so much had died? Just like that. At this moment, the happiest person in the entire Chen family was Chen Jinping. Even Chen Huanling, Chen Jinping's father, didn't want Chen Jingquan to die. The continuous development of a family needed a capable person to be at the helm. Chen Huanling knew very well what kind of person his son was. His son was a playboy. His strength was not as good as Chen Jingquan's, and his temperament was not as good as Chen Jingquan's. What kind of future did he have? Zhantian, what the hell happened? Did the traffic police come to a conclusion? Chen Wuxian asked painfully. Father, they have come to a conclusion. It was an accident. Whether it was the surveillance cameras on the streets or the driving recorder on Jingquan's car, it can be confirmed that it was an accident. No one framed Jingquan. Although Chen Zhantian didn't want to believe it, he still told the truth. What an eventful time. I originally thought that the marriage between the Chen family and the Shen family would bring us a step further. But such a thing happened. Chen Wuxian was surprised to hear this. He knew that he couldn't blame anyone for this, and could only accept it. Father, I think that the Chen family must come up with a plan. Jingquan is gone. Although this is very sad, I think that we can't give up on the cooperation with the Shen family. Chen Wuxian said. Oh, how can we cooperate? Chen Wuxian was slightly surprised. Jingquan is gone, but there is still Jinping. In the future, the Chen family can only use Jinping as the only person to cultivate. I think we can transfer this marriage to Jinping. Chen Zhantian suggested. Oh. After Chen Wuxian heard this, he looked at Chen Zhantian with approval. As the leader of the second generation of the Chen family, Chen Zhantian already had the consciousness of putting the family first. Jinping and Jingquan were fighting openly and secretly. Of course, Chen Jinping's matters were not on the table. The Chen family also didn't think that Chen Jinping could have any future prospects. Even Chen Huanling didn't think that his son could make any waves. He only hoped that his son could become a rich man under the protection of the Chen family. Chen Jinping was shocked. Yes, Chen Jingquan was dead. Now the only direct descendant of the Chen family was him. If not him, who else should they cultivate? Especially the marriage with Shen Jingxian. Chen Jinping almost laughed out loud. He was also secretly in love with Shen Jingxian. However, he felt that there was no hope, and could only dream about it. He didn't expect that it would become a reality. Jinping, this child doesn't have any ability. Chen Huanling was a little worried. He knew his son better than anyone else. Second brother, we watched Jinping grow up. Although he is a bit naughty, who else should the Chen family cultivate if not him? Are we going to cultivate those collateral relatives? Chen Zhantian interrupted Chen Huanling and said, Huanling, Zhantian is right. No matter what, Jinping is the only direct descendant of the Chen family. If we don't cultivate him, who else should we cultivate? This matter is settled. From now on, Chen Jinping will be the third-generation heir of the Chen family, Chen Wuxian said decisively. Zhantian, call Shen Jinghao later and tell him about the marriage. No matter how good our discussion is, if he doesn't agree, there is nothing we can do. In fact, Grandpa Chen also knew that Shen Jinghao liked Chen Jingquan because of his level 3 internal force. Chen Jinping was different, but he could only give it a try. At this moment, Shen Jingxian was sitting quietly in Shen Jinghao's car, not saying a word. Luckily, Jingxian, you two haven't officially gotten engaged yet. Otherwise, it would be bad to have a bad reputation, Shen Jinghao said with fear. If that was really the case, it wouldn't be easy for Shen Jingxian to marry a good family. After all, these big families still cared about their reputation. Dad, now that Chen Jingquan is dead, does that mean the engagement is cancelled? In fact, Shen Jingxian didn't like Chen Jingquan at all. Now that Chen Jingquan was dead, she felt nothing but sympathy. Jingxian, you know that as a girl of the Shen family, you can't decide your own marriage unless you really like a powerful young master from a big family. Only then will the Shen family support you. Shen Jinghao said, although marriage is a very vulgar method, our Shen family has been developing to this day. We have survived several disasters. What did we rely on? Isn't it because of external help? Where does this external help come from? It's from our in-laws. I know, but after this, can you give me some time to calm down? At least, before I finish my studies, I won't get married anymore, okay? In front of outsiders, Shen Jingxian looked very glamorous, but in fact she couldn't help but feel sad. Jingxian, you also know that the selection for the third generation of the Shen family has already begun. Your brother is also one of the candidates in the family's training system. However, whether he can stand out or not, in addition to his own strength, it also depends on his influence. You are his sister. If you marry into the Chen family, then the Chen family will be our supporter, Shen Jinghao said. Jingxian, you also know that once the next family head is determined, the other candidates will be sent out to other places. They can't return to the Shen family if there's nothing important. This feeling of being away from home is not a good feeling. You don't want your brother to be separated from us, right? Shen Jingxian hesitated. In the Shen family, the person she cared about the most was her brother. Her brother had always been her pride. At such a young age, he had already reached the 4th stage of internal strength. However, the Shen family was a big family. Shen Jingshuan's brother was not the only one who had reached the 4th stage of internal strength. If he wanted to stand out and become the heir of the family, he would need external help. Sometimes the strength of the external help would directly determine the position of the person. In fact, this was understandable. The family head had a wide network and knew some powerful people. When the family encountered trouble, the family head could use his personal connections to invite some powerful people to solve the problem. While the father and daughter were talking, Chen Zhantian's phone call reached Shen Jinghao. Chapter 69. Brother Chen, how is it? Is there a result? Shen Jinghao picked up the phone and asked. It was an accident, it has been confirmed. Chen Zhantian said. Brother Chen, I'm sorry for your loss. You and I are both martial artists, so let's not worry too much. Shen Jinghao comforted him. I understand, thank you, Brother Shen. But this time I called you to tell you about the decision of our Chen family. Chen Zhantian said. The decision of the Chen family? Shen Jinghao was slightly stunned. What does the decision of the Chen family have to do with me? In the past, the two families were in-laws, so it was fine for him to listen to it. But now, what was he listening to? Chen Jinping has been designated as the third-generation heir of the Chen family by my father. All the resources of the Chen family will be given to him. In this way, I think there is no need to cancel the marriage between our two families. The brother is gone, and the fiancé of the brother is married to the younger brother. This is a common thing in our ancient martial arts families. Chen Zhantian first explained this matter reasonably and then said, Brother Shen, what do you think? This. Shen Jinghao didn't expect the Chen family to make a decision so quickly. This made him a little embarrassed. He understood what Chen Zhantian said. Not to mention that they were not married. Even if they were married, it was common for the sister-in-law to marry the brother-in-law in ancient times. At least, it was reasonable from the perspective of etiquette. Moreover, this was also a situation that Shen Jinghao was happy to see. He had been in contact with the Chen family for so long, and was only lacking the next step of substantive cooperation. If they were to die now, it would be impossible for Shen Jinghao to contact other families in a short period of time. This would be disadvantageous to Shen Jinghao's son in competing for the position of heir. So after thinking for a moment, Shen Jinghao agreed. I think there is no problem, but I need to work on my daughter's side. After all, I need her consent. Haha, no problem. You don't need Jingshuan's consent. How about the two children get to know each other first? Once they are familiar with each other, it will be logical. Chen Zhantian said. Of course, if the two of them were to come into contact with each other, the matter would be more or less settled. Once the rumor spread, how could it not be settled? Both families were people who cared about their reputation. Between the children of aristocratic families, they either didn't want to be together, or they had to persevere. Otherwise, the two families would fall out. The Xiao family and the Cheng family, the Yu family and the Tang family, weren't they the same? Alright, I won't bother you anymore. There are a lot of things to take care of at home, and I have to deal with them. Chen Zhantian achieved his goal, and no longer said anything. His son's funeral preparations had already begun. After hanging up the phone, Shen Jinghao sighed and looked at Shen Jingxian. Jingxian, it's settled. Your marriage partner is Chen Jinpeng. Chen Jinpeng? Shen Jingxian was stunned. She could barely accept Chen Jingquan, but she looked down on Chen Jinpeng. This person did not have much ability, and was a profligate son of a rich family. He followed behind Xiao Chun, and used his connections to intimidate others. Of course, what Shen Jingxian couldn't accept the most was that this person was two-faced. This kind of behavior made her look down on him. Since he was Xiao Chen's little brother, why did he rely on Qiao Yuliang? Chen Jinpeng has been confirmed as the third-generation heir of the Chen family. All the cultivation resources will be given to him. Although this person's status in the Chen family can't catch up with Chen Jingquan, it will happen sooner or later. Shen Jinghao said, Jingxian, this person is still okay. No matter what, he is better than Xiao Chen of the Xiao family, right? At least, Chen Jinpeng can still cultivate. Oh, Shen Jingxian knew that her father had made up his mind. At this moment, nothing she said could help. In fact, Shen Jingxian thought that Xiao Chen was better than Chen Jinpeng. At least, Xiao Chen could live well without the halo of a child, which meant that Xiao Chen was not a loser. When Xiao Chen closed the stall and went home in the evening, Jean Beibei was still there. She was commenting on a character in a TV series with Miss Xiao. Seeing Xiao Chen coming back, Cheng Minjing snorted unhappily. Beibei and I haven't had dinner yet. You came back so late. Are you going to make us starve? Don't you know who you are? Hee. Xiao Chen was already used to Miss Zhao's princess syndrome. He put the bag in his hand on the tea table in front of them and said, I made fried dough twists and fried cakes for you. Have a taste. Wow, cousin-in-law, you have added a new variety again? The fried dough twists look delicious. While speaking, Jean Beibei started to eat while drooling. She picked up a piece of fried dough twists and stuffed it in. They look greasy. I wonder if I will get pimples on my face if I eat them. Although Cheng Minjing also felt that the fried dough twists looked delicious, she could not be happy when Xiao Chen took out delicious food, since he came back so late. Could she? That would be too easy to please. However, I am a natural beauty. Let's try some of them. Which one should we eat first? Wow, they are so delicious. Cousin-in-law, your cooking skills are really good. Whoever marries you will be happy. Jean Beibei ate the fried dough twists with her mouth covered in grease. Hey, save some for me. You damn Beibei, do you want to die? Cheng Minjing was trying to be reserved when she suddenly discovered that there was only one fried cake left. The other 3 had been eaten up by Jean Bebe, and one was still in her hand. Cheng Minjing immediately grew anxious and snatched it away. Don't you know that you should be more lenient to your cousin? Aya, he is my cousin-in-law, and you are my cousin. You can eat them whenever you want. I can't, unless you give your cousin-in-law to me. Jean Bebe picked up a fried dough twists somewhat unwillingly. Cheng Minjing snorted and ordered Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen, if there is delicious food in the future, do not give it to Bebe. Oh hee. Xiao Chen smiled. Looking at the 2 girls eating happily, Xiao Chen also heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, he really came back a little late. His current identity was the young Mrs. Male servant. Every day he was busy with his own matters. It was really a little unreasonable. Cousin-in-law, if you want to marry my cousin, you have to please me, Jean Bebe said. You guys eat. I will go back to my room first. Xiao Chen was going to brew medicine. He did not want to talk about this topic anymore. After all, he felt that it was impossible for him to be with Cheng Minjing. He could joke with her, but it was not appropriate for him to joke with her all the time. Come back early tomorrow to buy a car. Cheng Minjing glanced at Xiao Chen and said, Buy a car. Xiao Chen then remembered that Cheng Minjing said that she would buy a car on the weekend, but he was too busy and forgot about it. Okay, I will come back in the afternoon. After returning to his room, Xiao Chen sent a message to Tang Tang and told her that he would buy a car the next day. Tang Tang replied quickly, Why are you going to buy a car? It is not for you. Hee, I'm the driver, Xiao Chen replied. Tang Tang said, Oh, go ahead, but you have to come in the morning. I am too busy in the morning. I will definitely go in the morning. I will go there early tomorrow. I will need the fried dough twists and cover them with plastic wrap. In the afternoon, you can directly put them into the pot. Unsurprisingly, Xiao Chen was still very proficient in making fried dough twists and fried cakes. The next morning, or rather early, Xiao Chen got up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now that he had the advantage of making food, Xiao Chen did not want to waste it. Instead of eating instant noodles, Xiao Chen directly made a pot of lean meat porridge. After leaving a note for the first Miss and Jean Bebe, he went out. Since he was going to buy a car that day, Jean Bebe stayed here that night. Xiao Chen came earlier than usual, so he began to knead the dough in the yard of the granny's grocery store. However, to Xiao Chen's surprise, Tang Tang came soon. Why are you here so early? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. You told me to come earlier. I couldn't sleep after I woke up, so I came. Tang Tang smiled and said, Let's do it together. Okay. Xiao Chen felt that do it together was a little ambiguous. However, it seemed that he had thought too much. The car accident on the street of the morning market had no influence on the street. Ordinary people would not care about Chen Jingquan's death. Only the aristocratic families were shocked. Some were sad, while some were happy. In fact, many aristocratic families did not want the Chen family to unite with the Shen family through marriage. After all, if the Chen family became powerful, they would definitely threaten the status of other aristocratic families. Now that a promising member of the 3rd generation of the Chen family had died, the marriage would definitely be ruined. Many people were laughing at the Chen family. Unexpectedly, the Chen family reacted so fast. On the night of Chen Jingquan's death, they pushed Chen Jinping into the spotlight. Moreover, the engagement with the Shen family would be inherited by Chen Jinping. Many aristocratic families did not expect that. Of course, these things had nothing to do with Xiao Chen and Tang Tang at the moment. No one told them the follow-up of the matter. Xiao Chen did not care at all. In his view, no one could suspect him of the way Chen Jingquan died. At least not at this stage. Before he showed his strength, he was still safe. Well, now that I think about it, it's better for us to be broken off than for Shen Jingxuan's fiancé to die. If Shen Jingxian wants to marry in the future, her choice will be a little narrow. Tang Tang felt that Shen Jingxian was very pitiful. It's okay. She didn't like Chen Jingquan. It's okay that she died. Xiao Chen used to like Shen Jingxian. Even now, he still had a good impression of her. Naturally, he did not want to see Shen Jingxian unhappy. Sometimes, it was hard for Xiao Chen to tell whether he killed Chen Jingquan yesterday for Tang Tang, or because he did not want Shen Jingxian to be with Chen Jingquan. Of course, the former was definitely the main reason. The latter also faintly influenced Xiao Chen's decision. Hey, it sounds like you are interested in Shen Jingxian. Tang Tang was actually very sensitive. From Xiao Chen's tone, she heard something unusual. Chapter 70. Hee. Sort of. But that's all in the past. Now I'm in love with you. Xiao Chen smiled casually. Humph. I don't believe it. Although she said so, she was secretly delighted for no reason. She was even more enthusiastic about making the fried dough sticks. The whole morning was spent in busy work. After lunch, Xiao Chen prepared lunch for his mistress and Jean Bebe. Then he said goodbye to Tang Tang. Cousin-in-law, did you bring me delicious food again? When Jean Bebe saw Xiao Chen, she directly snatched the bag in his hand. Bebe, why are you like a starving ghost? You are so crazy. Can't you be more ladylike? Cheng Minjing was quite dissatisfied with Jean Bebe's behavior. Aya, we are all on the same side. Why are you still acting cool? Ladylike? I hate it. Jean Bebe opened the bag and began to eat. Hey, leave some for me. Cheng Minjing grew anxious and rushed over to snatch the food. Cousin, don't you want to be a ladylike girl? Why are you robbing me too? Although Jean Bebe was talking, she did not lag behind at all. A fried cake had already entered her stomach. If you don't rob me, there won't be any left. I just had a bowl of the porridge in the morning, and you had a whole pot. Cheng Minjing yelled angrily. Well, I'm still growing. Jean Bebe was somewhat embarrassed. The lean meat porridge in the morning was too delicious. She thought it was even better than the ones in the five-star hotels. What growing? It's all on your chest, isn't it? Cheng Minjing had no time to care about her image anymore. She snatched a fried dough twist and a fried cake and ran away. She did not eat as fast as Jean Bebe. She was naturally at a disadvantage. Therefore, she could only rob the food and eat it slowly. It did not occur to Xiao Chen that the food he made would be so popular. He was rather relieved. It seemed that Cheng Minjing was satisfied with him as a servant. Then he could continue working for her. To be honest, Xiao Chen really did not want to leave the mistress and work on his own. It was not because Xiao Chen liked Cheng Minjing and did not want to be apart from her. But it was not important. The main problem was that Xiao Chen did not want others to pay attention to him. He could train and improve his capability in secret here. If he went out, he would become a big target. By then, it would not be easy for him to hide anything. At the very least, with Cheng Minjing's identity as the eldest daughter of the Cheng family, it was impossible for the other aristocratic families to monitor this place. This was related to the Cheng family's reputation. There's no need to fight for it. If you want to eat, I can make some more tonight, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Who wants to eat it? I only ate it because I was so hungry that I had nothing else to eat. Xiao Chen, why did you come back so late? Naturally, Cheng Minjing would not admit that the food was delicious. Therefore, she changed the topic. There were a lot of customers at noon. I was delayed, Xiao Chen said. I didn't eat it myself and came back in a hurry. Huh. It couldn't be, right? You didn't eat it either? Cheng Minjing had just finished the food in her hand. She was dazed for a moment and somewhat touched. But since she had finished the food, she could only say, Bebe, don't eat so much. Leave some for Xiao Chen. Well, this is the last fried dough twist. Jean Bebe had just stuffed the last fried dough twist into her mouth when she pulled it out again. There was still a line of saliva on it, but it was not disgusting at all. Instead, it was particularly tempting. I haven't eaten it yet. Brother-in-law, here you are. While talking, Jean Bebe gave the fried dough twist with saliva on it to Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen was immediately rendered speechless. Although he felt that it was quite an erotic thing, he had nothing to do with the lady right now, let alone Jean Bebe. If he took it and ate it, what would be the relationship between Xiao Chen and Jean Bebe in the future? It seems that you are not full yet. You should eat it. I'll make some noodles later, Xiao Chen said. That's unnecessary. Actually, I'm full. I'm a bit bloated. Jean Bebe touched her abdomen with her other hand, and then raised the fried dough twist to Xiao Chen. Open your mouth, brother-in-law. Ah. Xiao Chen did not know whether to eat it or not. Bebe, your saliva is still on it. Cheng Minjing glared at Jean Bebe. Brother-in-law, you don't like me? Jean Bebe asked pitifully. Xiao Chen had no choice but to eat the fried dough twist that Jean Bebe handed to him. Okay, let's go, shall we? You don't want to eat instant noodles anymore? Cheng Minjing asked. I'm full. Xiao Chen did not want to waste any more time on it. It was already past 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If he stayed any longer, the car store would be closed. Bebe's saliva can fill you up? Cheng Minjing watched Xiao Chen enjoying the fried dough twist, and felt that he was asking for a beating. Faced with the lady's question, Xiao Chen could only pretend that he was innocent. In fact, although the way he ate the fried dough twist was a bit erotic, Xiao Chen did not have many thoughts about Jean Bebe. After all, Jean Bebe's deeds in the past were too deeply rooted in his heart. Xiao Chen was a fake foppish man, but he was not a real foppish man. Naturally, he would not mess with Jean Bebe for no reason. However, after getting along with her for a few times, he felt that Jean Bebe's personality was not bad. She was not as terrifying as the rumors said. After changing his clothes, Xiao Chen left the villa with Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe. They were sitting in Jean Bebe's Beetle, and Xiao Chen was sitting in the back seat. With his height, he could already practice the bone shrinking technique. On the way, Cheng Minjing was discussing with Jean Bebe what kind of car they should buy. Cousin Minjing, I think we should buy a sports car. It's so cool. Jean Bebe had always been drooling over sports cars. Unfortunately, although Master Jean treasured her, the Jean family did not have much business after all, and Jean Bebe did not have much pocket money. Can 3 people sit in a sports car? Will you be sitting in the back seat in the future? Cheng Minjing asked back. Oh right. There's also my cousin-in-law. It was not until then that Jean Bebe remembered that Xiao Chen was still sitting in the back seat. She had chosen the car based on her previous experience, but there was one more person in the family now. He's the driver, Cheng Minjing corrected her. Why don't we buy a Porsche Panamera? It's also a sports car, and it has 4 doors, Jean Bebe suggested. That's not a bad idea. Cheng Minjing looked a little better after hearing that. She was worried about Xiao Chen. In her opinion, the assassins who tried to assassinate Xiao Chen the other day were probably sent by the Cheng family. As long as Xiao Chen drove and she stayed in the car, it would be impossible for the Cheng family to attack them by force. However, it was inappropriate for her to tell Jean Bebe that, as if she were really concerned about Xiao Chen. Jean Bebe had been calling him cousin-in-law in the first place, and she did not want Jean Bebe to confirm their relationship. Jean Bebe parked the Beetle in front of the Porsche dealership, and the 3 of them got out of the car together. To be honest, a Beetle was quite inconspicuous in this place. Therefore, the 3 of them did not attract much attention. It was not until they entered the store that the sharp-eyed manager noticed Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen, you're here. He did not know that Xiao Chen had been driven out of the family. Xiao Chen had bought a Porsche 911 in this store, and he often came here for maintenance. Therefore, the manager was quite familiar with him. It was hard for the people in the secular world to get first-hand information about what happened in the noble families. He had thought that Xiao Chen was the young master of the Xiao family, and had come to buy a car with 2 beauties. Xiao Chen was somewhat embarrassed. But after thinking for a moment he said, hee hee. Hello Manager Wang. I'm here to buy a car. Is there a discount? Manager Wang was stunned. In his opinion, Xiao Chen was not a man who lacked money. The modification cost of his Porsche 911 was more than the cost of the car itself. Why would he ask for a discount? However, Manager Wang seemed to have guessed it. Generally speaking, there were only a few ways for these young masters to show off in front of beauties. They would either spend a lot of money without blinking, or they would show how powerful their social connections were, so that people would respect them wherever they went. In Manager Wang's opinion, Xiao Chen should belong to the second way today, which was to let the beauties think that he had a lot of connections and would be respected wherever he went. Thinking of this, Manager Wang quickly said, "Yes, Xiao Chen has asked for a discount of 20%. How about it?" To be honest, 20% was not a small amount. It was the highest discount that the manager could make the decision on. Xiao Chen was just asking casually. He did not expect that it would be so cheap. It was a pleasant surprise. "Thank you, Manager Wang. However, I am not buying a car today. It is my goddess who is buying a car." Xiao Chen did not know what to call Cheng Minjing. Mistress. That sounded a little silly. So, Xiao Chen suddenly thought of the goddess that Elder Heaven Ancestor had mentioned. I understand. Manager Wang did not expect that it was not Xiao Chen who wanted to buy a car. Previously, his attention was focused on Xiao Chen. He thought that the woman behind Xiao Chen was just a random female companion. However, now that he looked carefully, it was not the case at all. Weren't they Cheng Minjing from the Cheng family and Jin Beibei from the Jin family? Manager Wang had a set of information on these young masters and princesses in Songning City. His purpose was not to offend these people. After all, these people were his potential customers. So when he saw the identity of the two beauties, he was shocked. "It turns out to be Miss Cheng and Miss Jean. My apologies. May I know what kind of car you are buying?" "That's the one, the Palamara." Jean Beibei pointed at a car on the display stand not far away and said, "It's a nouveau riche color. It can show my identity." Manager Wang almost laughed out loud. Nouveau riche Jean Beibei? However, he did not dare to laugh. Instead, he felt a little embarrassed. "Miss Jean, this car was booked by someone else. I have already paid for it. If you want it, I can book another one for you. As for the price, I can apply for a discount." In fact, if it was a car bought by an ordinary person, Manager Wang would have sold it to Jean Beibei. At most, he would give the real buyer a discount. However, this car was booked by a big shot. Manager Wang could not afford to offend him. Just when Jean Beibei wanted to ask if they could discuss it with him, she heard a familiar voice behind her. Chapter 71. Store Manager Wang, is my car ready? I'm here to pick it up. The person who spoke was actually Chen Jinping, who Xiao Chen hadn't seen for a while. Chen Jinping didn't have a car in the past. His status in the Chen family was very weak. Even his father didn't support him. How could he have any pocket money? The only way was to follow behind others and be their lackey. That way they could earn some pocket money. But it was different now. Yesterday, he was confirmed as the third generation heir of the Chen family. All of a sudden, he went from a nobody to a big shot. So he came early in the morning to order a sports car. Of course, he entrusted Manager Wang to handle the paperwork for the car. So he agreed to pick it up in the afternoon. It's done. But second young Master Chen, these people are also interested in your car. What do you think? Manager Wang couldn't make the decision, so he could only let them discuss it among themselves. In his opinion, Chen Jinping was Xiao Chen's lackey, so he should give him some face. However, what surprised Manager Wang was that when Chen Jinping saw Xiao Chen, a sarcastic sneer flashed across his face. Isn't this Xiao Chen? It must be fun being a lackey, isn't it? Xiao Chen's face darkened slightly. He was acting for Chen Jinping. To be honest, Xiao Chen really didn't think highly of Chen Jinping. Chen Jinping, what do you mean? If you know what's good for you, quickly give the car to Miss Cheng. Otherwise, Xiao Chen wanted to laugh when he said these words. He was exactly like the villains in the movies. Before Xiao Chen could finish, Chen Jinping laughed. I say, Xiao Chen, are you crazy? Who are you now? You're just a lackey. How dare you talk to me like this? If I were you, I would find a hole to hide in. Store Manager Wang, give me the keys. I want to drive away. Chen Jinping was feeling good about himself now, although Cheng Minjing and Jean Beibei were here, and he had heard the horrible stories about Jean Beibei. In his opinion, he was in the right. He had booked the car first. Why should he give it to Jean Beibei? Besides, Jean Beibei was from the second high school, and he was from the first high school. The two of them had never met before. What was there to be afraid of? Of course, ignorance was bliss. Store Manager Wang was also a little stunned. He did not expect Xiao Chen to be scolded by Chen Jinping like that. Didn't Chen Jinping work behind Xiao Chen in the past? How come there was such a great reversal now? However, store manager Wang was a smart man. Seeing that Xiao Chen did not argue back, but stood there with a red face, store manager Wang knew that something must have changed. Also, what Chen Jinping said was not far from the truth. Xiao Chen must have fallen from grace and become Cheng Minjing's or Jin Beibei's lackey. Therefore, store manager Wang dared not piss off Chen Jinping at all. He hurried to give the car keys and a set of documents to Chen Jinping. Second young master Chen, all the documents have been taken care of. The license plate is TTT 777 as you requested too. You don't have to pay for the license plate. Consider it a favor from me, second young master Chen. In fact, Chen Jinping did not bargain at all. Not only did he buy a top-quality car, but he also installed a lot of luxurious facilities. It was safe to say that store manager Wang had earned almost 2 million for this car. Although he had bought the license plate at a high price, it was no more than a few $100,000. Chen Jinping said proudly, "Wow, haha. 777, I like it. A slot machine. It indicates that I can win in everything in the future. You've done a good job. However, you need to change the way you address me. My brother has passed away. I am the heir of the Chen family now. Just call me young master Chen. Don't call me second young master anymore," Chen Jinping said proudly. The news that Chen Jinping released surprised Xiao Chen, Cheng Minjing, and Jin Beibei too. They did not expect that Chen Jinping had been promoted. It was normal that Xiao Chen did not know about it. However, Cheng Minjing and Jin Beibei lived outside. Naturally, their families did not have the time to tell them. "Yes, young master Chen." Surprise flashed in store manager Wang's eyes. No wonder Chen Jinping suddenly became so generous. It turned out that he had become the heir of the Chen family. Then, he had to make good use of this customer. "Xiao Chen." "No, sidekick Xiao, I'm leaving." Chen Jinping waved the car keys in his hand and walked to his car proudly. "Hee, you snatched my car and still acted tough in front of me. Hee." Jin Beibei looked at Chen Jinping with a smile. Jin Beibei's smile made Chen Jinping shudder. However, after thinking about it, he did not take it to heart. "If I don't offend you, what can you do to me? Do you think you can beat me up?" Thinking of this, Chen Jinping paid no attention to Jin Beibei. He got into the nouveau riche golden Panamera, started the car, and sped away. "Miss Chung, Miss Jean, Xiao Chen, I'm sorry. You know that I can't afford to offend any of these people from aristocratic families," store manager Wang said helplessly. However, he had put Xiao Chen at the bottom. Although he was not being disrespectful, it also showed that there was a problem. "It's nothing. I'm not interested in that car. It's too cheap." Cheng Minjing naturally would not admit her displeasure. "Hee, I can't afford it even if it's cheap." Jin Beibei rolled her eyes and said to store manager Wang, "Hey, do you have the car keys? Give me one." "Huh." Store manager Wang was stunned. He said with a wry smile, "We've given the car keys to Mr. Chen. How can we keep them for ourselves?" "As long as they look the same," Jin Beibei said. "There are some that look the same, but we can't use them. They haven't been matched," store manager Wang explained. "Then can you give me one?" Jin Beibei asked. "That's not a problem." Although a key was expensive, it was only a few thousand yuan. He had earned enough from the car just now. Of course, he did not want to offend Jin Beibei because of such a small matter. "Xiao Zhang, go and find a Panamera's key for me." "Yes, store manager." An employee answered and went to get the key. "Beibei, what do you want this for?" Cheng Minjing was a little confused about Jin Beibei's purpose. "To show off," Jin Beibei said. Cheng Minjing was a little speechless. Xiao Chen was speechless too. Store manager Wang was even more speechless. Jin Beibei took the key and was about to leave. Although Cheng Minjing was confused, she still walked out of the car shop with her. "Beibei, are we not going to buy a car?" "No. I like the Tycoon Jin Beibei version." Jin Beibei was very angry. Chen Jinping had already angered her. It would have been fine if he did not show off, but he did it in front of her. How could Jin Beibei let him go? "All right then." Cheng Minjing saw that Jin Beibei was being stubborn, but there was nothing she could do. Coincidentally, she still had an old car at home. It was an Audi A5. Although it was not a very good car, it was not a problem to use it. However, it would have to wait until they returned to the Chung family. They left the car shop. Since Chen Jinping had disturbed their mood, they went home directly. At the gate of the villa, they found that Yi Xiaoya was planting something in the flower bed. However, Yi Xiaoya's cool image was seriously inconsistent with her image as a gardener. Hey, why did you occupy half of the flower bed again? Although Cheng Minjing was not a gardener, she was immediately angry when she saw that Yi Xiaoya occupied half of the flower bed again, without greeting her. She was already unhappy when she was in the car shop, and she was even more unhappy when she saw Yi Xiaoya. I'm sorry. You were not at home just now. Yi Xiaoya replied apologetically, which surprised Cheng Minjing quite a bit. She also felt helpless. She had already greeted her, and even apologized. What could she do? You think that's enough? This is a public place. You have to compensate us, don't you? Jean Bebe rolled her eyes. I'm told that my cousin-in-law lent you an electric cooker. Do you still need to return it? No thanks. Yi Xiaoya was stunned for a moment. She turned around and finally figured out who her cousin-in-law was. She shook her head quickly. However, she was a bit puzzled. Why did Jean Bebe call Xiaochen cousin-in-law? That's more like it. Jean Bebe returned to the villa in high spirits. Cheng Minjing also felt that her anger had been vented. If she were Jean Bebe, she would probably have no choice but to accept it. She did not have as many weird ideas as Jean Bebe did. Although Xiao Chen had gained some benefits, Xiao Chen was on her side no matter what. After returning to the villa, Xiao Chen went to his room to brew medicine, while Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe went upstairs to play something. The second dose of medicine was about to be used up. Xiao Chen had a headache. The third dose of medicine was not as simple as 10,000 yuan, but 20,000 yuan. Although the breakfast stall was profitable, it was not so profitable, right? Fortunately, the school exam was coming. If he got the first place, he could get a scholarship. However, there was still a gap of 10,000 yuan, which gave Xiao Chen a headache. But no matter what, he had to take care of the things in front of him first. Xiao Chen poured out the medicine he had brewed and drank it up. Then, he began to refine the medicine in his stomach. When Xiao Chen was about to refine the medicine calmly, a warm current suddenly surged in Xiao Chen's dantian. In the beginning, Xiao Chen did not take it seriously. However, as Xiao Chen refined the medicine, it became hotter and hotter, which startled Xiao Chen immediately. It was not the first time that he refined the medicine, but the feeling this time was completely different. Although he had felt this kind of warmth before, it was really a very comfortable warmth. However, it was completely different today. The heat had become burning, roasting Xiao Chen's dantian and tendons. Xiao Chen could even feel his body making a sizzling sound when roasting meat, which made Xiao Chen very scared. Elder Heaven Ancestor, something is wrong. I feel that I'm going to be cooked. Xiao Chen asked anxiously. But he did not dare to stop the circulation of the mental cultivation method. Who knew whether something more horrible would happen if he stopped? Something is indeed wrong. The voice of Elder Heaven Ancestor made Xiao Chen's heart cold. What did he mean by something is indeed wrong? Did something go wrong with my cultivation? Chapter 72. Should I stop now? Xiao Chen asked. Don't stop if you don't want to be killed by the backfire. Elder Heaven Ancestor warned him solemnly. Xiao Chen was speechless. If he stopped, he would die. If he didn't stop, he would die. What should he do? This is the sign of breaking through to the third level of the qi refinement stage. But it shouldn't be. You have only taken 2 doses of medicine. It's not scientific. Elder Heaven Ancestor murmured to himself in confusion. Breaking through? Xiao Chen was relieved. It turns out that I am going to break through. Xiao Chen thought he was going to die. Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Can't you finish your words in one breath? Not scientific. Since when were cultivators scientific? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen endured the burning sensation on his body and continued to circulate the mantra. Xiao Chen's body was like a piece of charcoal, slowly turning scarlet red. and the clothes on his body also emitted wisps of green smoke. As time went by, the heat on Xiao Chen's body became higher and higher. His clothes also turned into ashes. In Xiao Chen's dantian, there was a huge energy that could destroy the world. It was like the magma before the eruption of a volcano, which could burst out at any time. However, due to these side effects, Xiao Chen could even clearly feel that his divine sense and spiritual strength were strengthening at a very fast speed. He seemed to have a panoramic view of everything in the villa. Cheng Minjing and Jin Beibei were playing tablets in the room, while Yi Xiaoya came downstairs and was walking to his room. What is this girl going to do? Is she a thief? Seeing Yi Xiaoya tiptoeing like a female cat burglar, Xiao Chen felt a little strange. In particular, when she came to his room, Xiao Chen was even more frightened. He was currently cultivating. Could she have discovered something? Currently, Xiao Chen was the only one who knew the secret of his cultivation. He didn't want anyone else to know about it for the time being. However, with his current state, he couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. He simply couldn't stop. The medicine in his abdomen turned into a trace of warmth and flowed into his dantian. Xiao Chen was shocked and anxious. When he returned to his room, he didn't lock the door because there was no need to. The eldest miss never came to his room. But who would have thought that Yi Xiaoya would come? Boom! Just when Xiao Chen didn't know what to do, he felt a loud noise coming from his body. The heat energy in his dantian suddenly erupted like a volcano, pouring into the meridians of his entire body. Warmth flowed through his body. At this moment, Xiao Chen suddenly felt that his body was a lot lighter, as if it was completely different. It was as if the current Xiao Chen was no longer the Xiao Chen of the past. That feeling was like a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon, a carp leaping over the dragon gate. In that instant, the heat disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the door of Xiao Chen's room was pushed open. Yi Xiaoya looked into the room with a frown. When she saw Xiao Chen's naked body, she blushed and screamed. Ah! Yi Xiaoya screamed and closed the door of Xiao Chen's room with a bang. Are you streaking? Hearing Yi Xiaoya's scream, Cheng Minjing and Jin Beibei were a bit puzzled. However, they ran downstairs quickly to watch the fun, and saw Yi Xiaoya standing at the door of Xiao Chen's room with a flushed face. Her chest was heaving up and down, and no one knew what she was doing. Hey, what are you doing? Are you trying to scare me to death? Do you have any sense of civility? This is everyone's villa, not yours. Cheng Minjing was angry when she saw Yi Xiaoya, but she was happy when she saw Yi Xiaoya's abnormal behavior. Control your servant. Doesn't she know how to behave? Streaking in the house. Yi Xiaoya snorted and said coldly, streaking in the house? Cheng Minjing was stunned. Xiao Chen was naked at home? Judging from Yi Xiaoya's look, it didn't seem that she was talking nonsense. At this moment, Xiao Chen had changed his clothes. He pushed the door open and walked out. Hearing Yi Xiaoya's words, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I said I was changing my clothes in the room. You suddenly pushed the door open and scolded me? Don't you change your clothes in your room? Last time I saw you, you seemed to be wearing a yoga suit, right? Not this one, right? Yi Xiaoya was a bit confused just now, and her mind couldn't keep up. At this moment, after hearing Xiao Chen's words, she remembered that Xiao Chen was naked in his room. Was there anything wrong with that? He did push the door open and enter by himself. Thinking of this, Yi Xiaoya felt a bit embarrassed. Why did she feel that she was complaining first? Cousin Minjing, it turns out that this chick is a prostitute. You should be careful. I heard that many prostitutes are attracted to both men and women. We are still virgins. Don't be harmed by her. Jin Beibei stared at Yi Xiaoya with an unkind expression. I just felt that your room was very hot, so I came here to see if there was any problem. Yi Xiaoya stammered. Just now, she sensed a special energy, which was similar to when she made a breakthrough in cultivation. She was very surprised, so she came here to have a look. She felt that it should be Xiao Chen's room, but she didn't expect that Xiao Chen was naked. As a result, her mind went blank when she pushed the door open, and she even forgot her purpose of coming here. When she calmed down, the special energy had already disappeared. When Xiao Chen pushed open the door of his room, a strong smell of medicine drifted out. I was decocting medicine in my room. Of course it's hot. Thank you for the electric cooker. Well, I see. Then I'm leaving. Yi Xiaoye looked at Xiao Chun and felt that there was nothing special about him. She shook her head inwardly. Was her feeling wrong? Cousin Minjing, look at this prostitute. She seems to feel guilty. We have to be more careful in the future. Jin Beibei said. Cheng Minjing naturally didn't think that Yi Xiaoye was a prostitute. She always felt that Yi Xiaoye was a strange person. However, it was quite refreshing to see her being humiliated in front of Jin Beibei. Xiao Chun, what does she want to do? Cheng Minjing looked at Xiao Chun and felt that he seemed to be a bit different all of a sudden. However, she really couldn't tell what was different. How would I know? Xiao Chun shrugged with a bitter smile. Maybe it's because the door of my room is too hot. Yi Xiaoye thinks that something is going on inside. Oh, Cheng Minjing nodded and said, lock the door next time. Yi Xiaoye is weird. She doesn't work or go to school during the day. Who knows where she is from? Got it. Hee hee. Xiao Chun smiled. In fact, he also felt that Yi Xiaoye was quite weird. Not only was there a bitter fruit in the fridge, but she also planted a lot of herbs outside the villa. He wondered what she was for. Cheng Minjing did not say anything else and went upstairs with Jin Beibei. Xiao Chun, on the other hand, returned to his room and sat on the bed. He sensed the situation in the villa with his mind again, but the panoramic feeling was gone. Xiao Chun could no longer see what the people in the villa were doing, but he could still hear their voices clearly. Xiao Chun was more or less disappointed. The feeling just now was too good. If only he could peep at the lady when she was taking a bath. What was he thinking? Xiao Chun felt that he was afraid that the lady would drown, and that he could save her in time. That was all. Elder Heaven Ancestor, I'm. Xiao Chun was not sure about his status. Xiao Chun, something is really wrong with you. You are already a cultivator in the 3rd level of the refinement stage. Don't you feel anything? Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was full of weirdness. I do feel something is different. Xiao Chun nodded. However, it's not that much stronger. I only felt good when I broke through to the 3rd level. That's when you broke through. It's much stronger. You are just in the 3rd level of the refinement stage. How much stronger do you want to be? Elder Heaven Ancestor said angrily. I took 5 sets of medicinal materials to break through to the 3rd level of the refinement stage. I was already a genius, but you only took 2 sets. So I'm a super genius in the universe? Xiao Chun said. It's a sign of Qigong deviation, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Puff ahem. Xiao Chun thought he was a super genius. How could it be a sign of Qigong deviation? Forget it. What you cultivate is different from what I cultivate. I cultivate forward, while you cultivate backward. That's why it's possible that you don't even use a single medicinal herb. But if this goes on, it's hard to say whether or not you'll go berserk. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice carried a hint of worry. But there is no turning back. No matter what, you can only continue to practice like this. Then can you not scare me in the future? Can you give me some encouragement? I'm afraid of Qigong deviation every day. Xiao Chun was a little speechless. No matter what, it was already an established fact. It couldn't be changed. Why was he still trying to scare him? Then you are a genius. Elder Heaven Ancestor encouraged him. Xiao Chun. In any case, Xiao Chun was now a real Qi refinement stage level 3 cultivator. His strength was equivalent to a level 3 inner force warrior. In Elder Heaven Ancestor's words, he was slightly stronger. This filled Xiao Chun with fighting spirit. Among the younger generation of the aristocratic families in Songning City, the most powerful ones were level 3 inner force warriors. Of course, there might be some who hid their strength. But on the surface, level 3 inner force warriors were already very powerful, like Chen Jingquan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been favored by the Shen family. Xiao Chun really wanted to punch the wall. However, this villa was not his, and he could not afford to pay for it if the wall was broken. Furthermore, he did not want to attract too much attention, so he could only find an opportunity to give it a try. Xiao Chun, you seem to be very confident now. Elder Heaven Ancestor saw Xiao Chun's eagerness to try. Chapter 73. In the past, I didn't have the strength, so I couldn't find a way to hide. But now, I'm afraid that if I meet those two warriors again, I can kill them, right? Xiaochen said confidently. If it's one-on-one you can, but if it's two-on-one you'll definitely die. Elder Heaven Ancestor poured cold water on him. F***ck. Then what kind of advantage does a cultivator have? Xiaochen rolled his eyes. Only in other aspects. For example, you can predict the opponent's movements. When the opponent is about to punch, you can capture this information the moment he lifts his arm, and then react accordingly. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. In this way, you'll have the upper hand. In the third level of refinement stage, your eyes and ears are more intelligent, and your perception is more powerful. Even if you don't deliberately observe, you'll still be aware of your opponent's every move. Of course, it's still impossible to have a powerful perception like when you just broke through. Oh, if that's the case, even if I'm facing a stage for inner force martial artist, I can predict his moves in advance. Even if I can't win, I can still protect myself? Xiaochen asked. But didn't you already have this advantage when you were at stage 2 of the Qi refinement stage? I have reached the second level of the Qi refinement stage, but it's not that obvious. The most important thing is your body's agility. Don't you feel that you've been reborn? Elder Heaven Ancestor said. For cultivators, the second level of refinement stage and the third level of refinement stage is a watershed. It can be said that as long as you have some spiritual roots, you can cultivate. But it's not so easy to step into the third level from the second level of refinement stage. This will eliminate most people. Even if these people drink the elixir for a year, they still won't be able to break through to the third level. So that's how it is. Xiaochen nodded. Indeed, his body now felt as light as a swallow. He was much more flexible than before. He tried to wave his fist and kick a few times. Suddenly, his face showed an astonished expression. He was performing a set of martial arts fist and leg techniques. However, the movements that he couldn't perform before were now easily performed. Although it seemed like a few casual punches and kicks, even a 7th or 8th level inner force warrior couldn't do it casually. This was a very complex and strict test of the body's coordination and flexibility. Xiaochen didn't expect that his body's coordination and flexibility had reached a level that surprised him. Now, after you predict the enemy's moves, you can instantly order your body to complete some incredible movements to avoid the attack. But a second level of refinement stage can't do it. Even if you predict it, you won't be able to avoid it. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. So that's how it is. That's right. Didn't they say that every level of a cultivator has a special ability? Then, what kind of special ability does a third level of refinement stage have? Xiaochen was looking forward to this. Who told you that every level has a special ability? But the third level of refinement stage does have it. I've already transmitted these abilities to your mind. You can check it yourself. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. That's right. Xiaochen quickly searched his mind for the description of a cultivator's special ability, given to him by Elder Heaven Ancestor. He found the third level of refinement stage. Illusion. These two words reflected in Xiaochen's eyes. But what is this illusion? Elder Heaven Ancestor. How do I use this illusion? The so-called illusion is actually an illusion that gives people an illusion, similar to magic or mirage. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. This is commonly used in battles. Not all cultivators can use illusion. You have this ability because you have cultivated the Heaven's Fortune battle art. This ability is also very powerful. For example, when you are fighting with someone, you can create an illusion of punching, but in fact, you are punching. In this way, if the opponent is confused by you, your goal will be achieved. F***ck, that's awesome. After listening, Xiaochen was a little surprised. Then in the future, even if I meet a stronger opponent, I can still use the illusion. As long as he is fooled, I can sneak attack him? That's impossible. The illusion can only affect people with the same strength as you. If the opponent is slightly stronger, it may work. But if the opponent is too strong, it will basically be useless. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Moreover, the duration of the effect can't be too long. Depending on the strength of the opponent, it will only be a few seconds or a few seconds. And you have to pay a lot of physical strength and true chi. You can't use all your strength to constantly create the illusion, right? That's true. After listening, Xiaochen suddenly felt disappointed. In that case, this thing is similar to the ability to affect the mind of others. There is nothing special. That's not the same. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. Affecting the mind of others is a passive influence. You can only affect one person at a time. But the illusion is an active influence. When you create the illusion, the number of people who see it will affect the number of people. The two are not the same concept. Is that so? Xiaochen nodded. But it seems a bit useless. If the opponent is too strong, it will be useless. If the opponent is not strong, I don't need to use it. You are only at the 3rd level of refinement stage. What good ability can you have? Don't be too ambitious. It's already good to have achieved what you have now. When you become a higher level cultivator, think about other things. Elder Heaven Ancestor also felt that the ability in the early stage of refinement stage was not very useful. He threw out this bait just to urge Xiaochen to practice. I will work hard and strive to enter the 4th level of refinement stage as soon as possible. After listening to the words of Elder Heaven Ancestor, Xiaochen was a little excited. Although the ability of the 3rd level of refinement stage was not very useful in battle, it was already very powerful for ordinary people. Of course, he was looking forward to the ability after the 4th level. Wouldn't it be even more powerful? If you want to enter the 4th level, it will not be easy. In a place where the spiritual energy is thin, you will need to rely on the support of elixirs. Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded, I will give you another prescription. You will still need to decoct, and take it according to the current method. 3 days as a cycle. Of course, I can't say how many elixirs you will need. Your situation is a bit special, so I will calculate when you break through. I still need to buy elixirs? Xiaochen's excitement suddenly cooled down. Originally, he thought that he was a genius. With 2 elixirs, he would no longer need to worry about money. But he didn't expect that this was just the beginning. Although he didn't need the previous elixirs, he changed them. Nonsense. Cultivation is a path that goes against the heavens. If you can cultivate by just sitting there, then this world would already be a world of cultivators. Elder Heaven Ancestor snorted. Xiaochen was a little embarrassed. He also felt that his thinking was too simple. Yes, if cultivation was so easy, then what was so great about it? However, after Xiaochen took a look at the prescription that Elder Heaven Ancestor gave him, he almost fainted. Xiaochen didn't know how much the other elixirs were worth, but the 2 bitter fruits made Xiaochen want to cry but have no tears. One of these elixirs was worth a lot. Wouldn't 2 elixirs cost his life? Xiaochen didn't expect the grandpa in the pharmacy to give him another discount. That was not realistic. He was not related to them. These 2 elixirs were already very helpful to him. Now, Xiaochen could only pin his hopes on tomorrow's mock exam. But even if he was the first in his cohort, he would only get a scholarship of 10,000 yuan. There was still a big gap. How much did this elixir cost? Xiaochen also didn't know. Thinking of this, Xiaochen decided to inquire about the market. With a goal, it would be easier to raise money. Xiaochen put on his coat and went out of the villa. As soon as he went out, he saw Yi Xiaoya watering the flowers in front of the garden. Yi Xiaoya also saw Xiaochen. She looked at him strangely, hesitated and asked, What medicine do you decoct every day? Medicine to strengthen the body. What's wrong? Asked Xiaochen. Strengthen the body. I don't see anything wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Yi Xiaoya felt that Xiaochen seemed to be perfunctory with her. There's something wrong with my body. I couldn't cultivate internal strength since I was a child. My father gave me a prescription and asked me to take it often. Maybe I can cultivate internal strength and become a martial artist. Xiaochen said, This is not a secret. If you are from Songning City, you will know the name of the useless young master of the Xiao family. Ah, Yi Xiaoya listened to Xiaochen's words. She felt that she seemed to be a little bit narrow-minded. It seemed that Xiaochen was quite famous. Otherwise, these things could be easily found out. Xiaochen didn't need to lie. Is there any effect? Not yet. Xiaochen shook his head. In fact, Xiaochen didn't lie to Yi Xiaoya. He really hadn't cultivated internal strength, but he had cultivated qi. Oh, Yi Xiaoya hesitated. She seemed to have something to say, but she didn't say it. She lowered her head and continued watering. She ignored Xiaochen. If Yi Xiaoya didn't talk to him, Xiaochen naturally wouldn't take the initiative to look for Yi Xiaoya. In Xiaochen's view, Yi Xiaoya was a very strange person. Since she had something like the bitter fruit, she obviously knew about it. Then the probability of her discovering his secret had increased a lot. Xiaochen couldn't let her discover anything. Quickly running to the mysterious pharmacy, Xiaochen pushed the door and went in. Hey, it's you again. Hong Yin didn't expect Xiaochen to come again. Did he come to buy that strange medicine? However, although she was curious, she didn't ask much. Instead, she said, "Wait, I'll call Grandpa." "Thank you." Xiaochen nodded politely. After all, the grandfather and grandson of this pharmacy were good to him. "Young man, you're here to buy medicine again? However, this time it's a deal. It's 20,000 yuan. The old man walked out from behind, glanced at Xiaochen and said, "You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."